this ability to cancel or whatever, and then you decide you want to do that, and they say, no, you're not allowed to do that. And that's because companies cheaping out on customer no service and offering you these not fully developed chatbots. So be very careful as a consumer trusting what any of these AI tools tell you about your wallet.
If you've ever organized your closet only to have it look like a bomb went off in there 1 month later, then it's time to call Artisan Custom Closets. Dave Baker here with a custom spacious closet from Artisan. You'll never have to deal with all that clutter again. ArtisanCustomClosets.com.
Hey everyone, it's your buddy Shelly Winter here. Join me this Saturday at noon for the Car Guys with Kevin Deutsch from Butler Lexus of South Atlanta. Buy or lease, fix or sell, everything you want to know about cars, we will cover Saturday noon to 1 right here on 95.5 WSB.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Hi there, good afternoon. It is 12 o'clock on this Thursday, September 25th. I'm Sabrina Cupid. The news here at noon is sponsored by Jim Ellis Automotive. And this just in, Cobb police tell us they have arrested a third person now in connection with that shooting of a 9-month-old baby girl at a motel near Truist Park. Javian Young, now charged with murder, possession of a firearm during a felony and aggravated assault. Ladarius Brown was previously arrested on the same charges. A third suspect has been charged with tampering with evidence. In Fulton County, closing arguments underway right now at the trial of an alleged gang member who is charged with murder in the July 2020 death of 8-year-old Sequoia Turner. Julian Conley's defense called one witness, a woman who says men in black shot at the Jeep that night, not Conley.
And I'm so sorry for her loss. That was not what we was out there for, and that wasn't supposed to happen.
Now, prosecutors pointed out that the woman was looking at a second barricade up the street from where Conley was standing. The defense says her description does not fit Conley, who was wearing a red shirt that night. WSB's Veronica Waters covering the trial. Check back for updates. Your weather for today, cloudy with on and off showers, maybe a few thunderstorms today. Highs around 81. So how's your weekend weather shaping up? WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards will have Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast coming up at 12:05. If you were in Roswell this morning and noticed a lot of police activity, here's what was going on. Roswell police now investigating after a man was shot and killed at the Rosemont apartment complex this morning off Rosemont Parkway. It happened around 8:30. Police say this was an isolated domestic incident. A suspect is in custody this noon, and no names have been released so far. There's a disturbing story today. Michael Wallace reports that U.S. and Mexican authorities have arrested a cartel leader who allegedly ran a baby trafficking ring.
Marta Alicia Mendez Aguilar is known as La Diabla. Senior intelligence officials tell CBS News her Jalisco New Generation cartel in northern Mexico lured pregnant women to remote areas and performed cesarean sections on them. They allegedly harvested the dead mother's organs and sold the babies to couples in the U.S. for as much as $14,000. The director of the National Counterterrorism Center says it's an example of what cartels will do to diversify their revenue streams.
The Department of Homeland Security says it's tightening security at ICE facilities all across the country following yesterday's shooting at a field office in Dallas, Texas. One detainee was killed. Investigators believe the suspected shooter was targeting law enforcement. FBI Director Kash Patel posting a picture on social media of shell casings engraved with the phrase anti-ICE found at the scene. 2 other people injured in that attack. New here at noon, the governor announcing an extension of Georgia's Pathways Medicaid program, the extension beginning October 1st of this year. It'll run through December 31st of next year. Georgia is one of 10 states that never expanded coverage to all eligible adults under Obamacare. Measles cases at a new high since the disease was declared eradicated back 25 years ago. More than 1,500 cases now reported by the Atlanta-based CDC as of Wednesday, with outbreaks spreading in Utah, Arizona, and right here in Georgia. The latest outbreak in our state linked to a case at Georgia State University. We've had 10 confirmed cases of measles so far this year in Georgia. The illness has been growing as vaccination rates are declining. Also new at noon, Amazon reaching a historic $2.5 billion settlement with the Federal Trade Commission, which said that the online giant tricked customers into signing up for their Prime membership and then made it almost impossible to cancel after they did it. Amazon admits no wrongdoing in this settlement. Honda is pulling the plug on production of the Acura ZDX electronic crossover SUV, which was assembled by General Motors at a plant in Tennessee. In a statement, the Japanese car maker cited market conditions for its decision to stop making the vehicle. The move comes as U.S. federal tax credits for EV purchases are set to expire next week. It's another steady month when it comes to the job market here in Metro Atlanta.
The state labor department says Metro Atlanta's unemployment rate holds at 3.5%, but still down from 3.9% a year ago. Jobs in local government see big gains, up 7,400 from the month prior. Other big winners include healthcare and social assistance, private educational services, and state government. Jobs in the arts, entertainment, and recreation sector see the largest drop, down about 3,000. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
All right, let's check your money as we take a look at the markets. The Dow is in the red, NASDAQ also down, and so is the S&P here on your lunch hour. It's time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center with a look at your lunchtime roads.
Still watching the hot spot up into Kennesaw this lunch hour, Sabrina. 75 northbound, the right lane tree trimming construction up there at Chastain Road exit 271 is causing that brake light battle to stretch all the way back to South Marietta Parkway. Highway 41 Cobb Parkway is a good alternate to get you around that. Also, a right lane blocked with construction. This also in Cobb, the east-west connector eastbound at Highlands Ridge Road. Luckily, only causing a slight tap of the brakes there. And if you are on the downtown connector, 7585 southbound, you're seeing scattered brake lights from 17th Street down to North Avenue, as well as northbound from University Avenue to Peachtree Pine Street. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It's time now for Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast, sponsored here at noon by Shoemate, the official plumber of Atlanta. Here's WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards.
Cloudy skies with scattered rain showers and thunderstorms throughout the afternoon into this evening. Today's high is 81, lows tonight in the upper 60s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with off and on rain showers and a few rumbles of thunder, high 79. Drying out on Saturday, partly cloudy skies, morning lows in the mid-60s, daytime high 83. Sunday and Monday, partly cloudy, morning lows in the mid-60s, daytime highs in the mid-80s.
As we take a look around the metro area, partly cloudy skies right now in Milton, where it's 78 degrees. Tucker, you have 77 degrees, and here in Midtown Atlanta, 79 degrees on Peachtree Street. We'll have more news at 12:30, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Okay, friends, it's the 5K a day bonus blitz. Your noon keyword is concert, CONCERT, concert. Enter the word concert into the WSB Radio app or at WSBradio.com/cash. You have until 12:30 p.m. to enter the keyword, win $1,000. The keyword is concert, CONCERT. Don't forget, if you get a phone call after 12:30 from a number you don't recognize, answer it. Could be us telling you won $1,000. Keyword's concert. Good luck.
Greetings, America. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States. The phone number, 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program, we got to begin with some surprising economic data out. This is CNBC.
Now, on the GDP side, this is our third time around the block on Q2, and we see a really solid revision, 3.8%. I'm a bit shocked, to be honest. Usually the revisions, as you get to second and third, become smaller and smaller. So 3.8% would be the best quarter going back to, and we have to go back a ways here, to 4.4, and that was the third quarter of 23. Now, it is important to point out that if you look at the first quarter final, down 0.5%, there's a balance there. But the balance is moving in favor, and momentum is moving in favor for better growth.
Now, what does that mean? It means that the numbers have been revised by the Bureau of Labor Statistics to revise up the economic track. However, the first quarter GDP was revised to negative growth now in its final revision. So it balances out, as Rick Santelli says, but yeah, headed in the right direction. The economy, Stephen Mirren is the latest member of the Fed. He's the guy Donald Trump allegedly wants to replace Jerome Powell. This is him talking about growth moving forward.
You've had a more bullish outlook on the macro story than some of your colleagues. How would you assess the economy today, Stephen? And what kind of a growth number are you expecting for 2025?
Sure. So, so I'm actually probably a little bit more sanguine on economic growth than many of my FOMC colleagues. And it's funny that I actually even have, lower rate expectations in spite of that. lower rate prescriptions in spite of that. And the reason is that the reasons why I'm optimistic on the economy expand the supply side of the economy. That means they push out potential output and actual output at the same time. And so when you think about things like the incentives for investment that are part of the tax bill that was recently sort of passed by the Congress and enacted into law by the president, and you look at things like deregulation of the economy and deregulation of the energy industry and the financial industry, in my mind, these all push out the economy's potential. They push out the supply side. They allow the economy to produce more with the same amount of resources, or they increase the resources of capital stock and labor supply that are available. And when you push out the supply side at the same time, it doesn't have implications for monetary policy because the output gap gets left relatively unchanged.
Mm-hmm. And do you think that we will see a 3% growth number this year?
I don't think for this year that's quite likely because of the weakness in the first half of the year. As I said before, I'm optimistic for the second half of the year, and I think we've got a decent shot of a number like that for the second half of the year. And then going into next year, we may get numbers that are in that neighborhood as well. But for 2025, it's not likely to happen because of the weakness in the first half of the year.
Now, all of that being said, how do we proceed to deal with the numbers? Well, there are some great signs in the economy. Economic growth revised upward to 3.8%. It had been originally 3.1%, then 3.3%, now 3.8%. Democrats, you will be not surprised to learn the Democrats, they're like, well, how can we believe this number? This is from the Trump team, and they were firing people. How can we believe it? Well, it's still the same shop with the same people. There's not a new head of the operation there. I think we can believe it. All of that looks good, but there are warning signs, and maybe this cut in the Federal Reserve will help. The auto industry is signaling some trouble. Now, part of this is being underreported, but as CarMax points out, so their sales are down. CarMax has 250 dealerships nationwide, and they're saying that one of the reasons they're seeing declining sales right now is because with the notification that tariffs would be coming, a lot of people bought their new used cars at the beginning of the year instead of waiting for later in the year. Instead of gambling about a Federal Reserve rate cut, they decided they needed to take action sooner because of the rates. All that being said, there is some underlying used car turmoil out there with CarMax sales and profits declining in the latest quarter. The company's results sent the stock tumbling by as much as 25% today, according to the Wall Street Journal. Ford is offering lower interest rates to buyers with the weakest acceptable credit histories, trying to unload unsold F-150s. Honda is scrapping an electric Acura SUV after one model. Other brands are offering discounted EVs as the federal credit goes away. Tricolor, which is a subprime auto lender and car dealer that specializes in, people with bad credit, they're filing for bankruptcy. Government investigators are looking into them for fraud. First Brands, which does Fram oil filters and Anco windshield wipers, is preparing bankruptcy protection. New car sales are pretty robust. Consumers are now slowing their electric car purchases, but there are some warning signs there. Starbucks is laying off 900 corporate workers and closing hundreds of stores because, they've been losing money 6 quarters in a row. Starbucks has been losing money. Can I just say, I'm looking at the economic numbers today, and the Starbucks story stands out for me. A lot of CNBC, the Wall Street Journal, they're saying people are stopping by, they're cutting back their coffee. Can I be honest with you? I mean, you all know I have strongly held opinions on Starbucks. I don't like Starbucks. And I don't really think that the problem so much is that people are cutting back on their coffee consumption. I think they're cutting back on their Starbucks consumption. Because you go to the local store with the purple-haired barista with the women and gender studies degree, and you're tired of getting the scowl and waiting forever for the overpriced coffee. Their coffee is overpriced. My in-laws live about 2 hours from us, and they have a Starbucks. And I will admit, so my mother-in-law doesn't like the smell of coffee. She has a coffee pot. Well, like I was up there a couple weeks ago with just the kids, and I wasn't going to fire up a full pot of coffee just for me. I'd drink it, but I was like, I'll suffer through the Starbucks today. And I put in an order on my phone, and drove to the Starbucks. And my thinking was, if I put in an order for my Starbucks, by the time I get there, it's a 5-10 minute ride from their house. I'll have it'll be there for me. No, I had to wait another 20-30 minutes. What's notable is the line at the Starbucks. There's a massive line, which you would interpret as they're doing gangbusters business. But consider their store sales are declining everywhere, including there. The customer service isn't fantastic. The ordering process is slow. The people behind the counter are overwhelmed. And when you get it, it's just not great coffee. I don't care where you are in the country. If you find an independent coffee shop, you're going to get better coffee than Starbucks. If you find even a small local, and by the way, there are better chains too. Dutch Brothers is much better. There are so many better coffee chains than Starbucks. And Starbucks now has changed the way it does its coffee. It tastes less burn. But it's not great. And by the way, I go for the coffee. I don't go for I don't go for the iced coffee drinks. I'm not a sociopath. I don't go for all the other weird drinks that you can get at I just want coffee. I'll occasionally get a latte, or I'll get a flat white. I grew up in Louisiana. I like cafe au lait. But it's never great. And interestingly enough, as Starbucks expanded around the country, there's been a ton of research on this. In fact, my kid's in a management and marketing class right now, and she was talking about it the other day. As Starbucks expanded around the country, a lot of people thought Starbucks is going to wipe out the mom and pop independent coffee shop. And what's actually happened is that a lot of people now go to the independent mom and pop shops because they realize they can actually get a better cup of coffee there. And the mom and pop shops around the country are doing far better. There are far more independent coffee shops now than there were when Starbucks was spreading across the country, because people decided, you know what, I actually like this coffee, but I bet someone else can make a better product. And they do. They make a better product at your local mom and pop coffee shop. When I go places, I always try to find the local shop instead of the Starbucks. And the local shop inevitably has better pastries, better coffee, nicer people. Now, the weird part is it is ubiquitous. It doesn't matter which coffee shop you go to in the United States, whether it is Caribou or Starbucks or the mom and pop shop. 7 out of 10 times, the barista is going to have a nose ring and pink or purple hair. It does not. It is like pop. It is like, is there a uniform training process to get hired in a coffee shop in America that, well, you've got to have one side of your head shaved, the other side long, the top of it needs to be a non-natural color, and you must have enough piercings in your face to set off the metal detector at the airport. And they literally pass the baristas back and forth through the metal detector. It's not beeping yet, one more pierce. It's not beeping yet, one more pierce. Why don't you pierce down there? Okay, that's good. It rings. I don't understand why that coffee culture exists in that way for the baristas. They get their feminist women and gender studies degree, and then it's like you either go to HR or you go to Starbucks. Are you angry enough? Let me tell you a joke. Oh, you laughed. You got to go to Starbucks. Oh, you scowled at the funny joke. You're going to HR. I don't understand it. And nonetheless, I would be a little hesitant to tie the Starbucks sales declines to the overall problems in the economy. Now, the other problem in the economy, and this is one I mentioned the other day, if you're a Republican, you do have to start wondering about this issue. Groceries. We're going to get on Friday, tomorrow, we'll get better information on inflation. But meat prices have gone back up. Egg prices have gone down. Vegetable prices are going up, and a lot of it happens to deal with the tariff issue. And I would encourage again the president and his team to exempt groceries from the tariffs. That would immediately bring down grocery prices. If you exempted groceries from the tariff, if you exempted imported fruits, vegetables, meat products, things like that, you would begin to lower consumer prices at the grocery store, and that's where a lot of consumers feel this stuff most directly. You would have a meaningful psychological impact on voters headed into next year. But I have a sneaking suspicion. I think that the Republican calculus headed into next year is they're going to do what Joe Biden did in 2022, and that's going to be their strategy. In 2022, Joe Biden, remember he went to Independence Hall in Philadelphia with the Marines behind him and the red lighting, and he gave the angry speech denouncing Republicans as a threat to democracy. The polling shows now that a majority of voters believe Democrats are a threat. I shouldn't say a majority, a plurality of voters believe that Democrats are a threat to democracy. It's Democrats who are more violent. It's Democrats who are doing the political violence in the country. I think the Republicans want to turn the tables on the Democrats from 22. I mean, look what happened. Democrats had a pretty good year in 2022. Mitigated damage from having Joe Biden in the White House by making people scared of the GOP. And I mean, they had to do like a full court press to make people scared of the GOP. You don't have to push people very much on Democratic violence. We've got the ICE attack in Dallas. You got Tyler Robinson killing Charlie Kirk. You got the firebombing of the Fox News truck in Las Vegas. You got the attacks on mourners at Charlie Kirk memorial services. You got the guy who boarded up the kids in the church and began to shoot them, the trans activist. You got the shooting of the Free Palestine activist in New York. You got the shooting of the Israeli embassy employees in Washington by the Free Palestine progressive activists. It's not that hard to scare people. If you give people good economic data, you've lowered grocery prices by exempting groceries from tariffs, you can leave the rest of the tariffs. They're not going to have a disproportionate impact on people because people are going to be concerned about who do we put in charge? And most Americans are not going to want to put in charge the people who are out there gunning down other Americans, which means they'll stick with the GOP. Plus, you keep doing the full court press on redistricting, you grow the number of available Republican seats. Republicans keep power.
Have something to say? Hello. Call the show. 1-877-97-ERIC. That's 1-877-973-7425.
1220 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Still watching the big jam on 75 northbound between Marietta and Kennesaw. You have construction in the right lane up at Chastain Road, exit 271. Also looking at a new work zone up in Holly Springs, 575 northbound up around 6's Road, exit 11. I believe that's a left lane block causing a slow zone. And heads up in Cobb County, right near Truist Park in the Battery. Police activity shutting down Highway 41, Cobb Parkway southbound at Circle 75. Traffic brought to you by the Georgia Lottery. Win millions playing Powerball in-store or online. You can go to GALottery.com so you can finally vacation to that luxurious island, or you could just buy it only from the Georgia Lottery. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Okay, friends, it's the 5K a day bonus blitz. Your noon keyword is concert. CONCERT, concert. Enter the word concert into the WSB Radio app or at WSBradio.com/cash. You have until 12:30 p.m. to enter the keyword. Win $1,000. The keyword is concert. CONCERT. Don't forget, if you get a phone call after 12:30 from a number you don't recognize, answer it. Could be us telling you won $1,000. Keyword's concert. Good luck.
This is Scott Slade, updating my health story. I get a checkup every year, and last September, my primary care physician was troubled by a suspicious number on my lab work. Well, that led to a diagnosis early enough to give me options, and I'm more optimistic than ever about a good outcome. Now, when we're talking about our health, level with your providers if you think you have a problem. We all need expert eyes looking us over every so often. That's where virtual imaging can be invaluable. Virtual Imaging's LDCT body scan can give you time and options for early treatment, especially for cancer. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. For a limited time, Virtual Imaging is extending their core body scan offer for only $995 per scan. That's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual Imaging has gotten such great response, they've opened up more times in both offices. But appointments will fill up fast for this offer, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your virtual imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com. That's virtualimagingatl.com. Do it now while you still have options.
The biggest factor, I think, in choosing a company is their integrity. Are they going to warranty their work and stand behind their work?
Meteorologist Glenn Burns loves his Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows from North Georgia Replacement Windows.
The product, of course, has to be good, but the folks standing behind that product have to be even better. This is the company that has the best products, the best service, the best installation.
Infinity from Marvin Replacement Windows, yeah!
For many of you, it's happening. Your hair's thinning, your crown's disappearing, and maybe hair loss has you feeling your identity is lost altogether. Well, I got good news. It's Advanced Hair's incredible yet simple one-day treatment that starts regrowing your own natural hair the very next day, and it's guaranteed to grow for life. It's Mark Aaron back with you. We've all seen the pills and lotions that come with monthly subscriptions. They help retain what you have, but what about regrowing your hair permanently in specific areas? From Advanced Hair's state-of-the-art facilities to their world-class physicians, it's not maybe your hair will regrow, it's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. You decide how much, how thick, and where. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, and I've seen their results, friends. For your free consultation, $250 off, and 250 free hair grafts, call 470-660-HAIR. That's 470-660-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
You've thought about assisted living for your parents, but maybe the right answer is renovating your home and having mom or dad move in. I'm Richard, Chief Architect at Sketch House, where we create custom architectural drawings for homeowners looking to remodel. Why get drawings first? You'll know what's possible. You'll be able to get pricing and compare builders apples to apples, and builders love drawings. You'll get bumped to the top of their list with drawings in hand. Let Sketch House help you make a decision about your aging parents at a fixed price. Visit sketchhouse.com. That's sketch, Haus.com.
Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watches, servicing Rolex watches for over 30 years. Their Rolex-trained watchmaker will service your watch in store. Lee Brandt uses only genuine Rolex parts, and estimates are free. Drop by Lee Brandt in Sandy Springs or visit LeeBrandt.com.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
He may not tell you what you want to hear, but he tells you what you need to hear. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
Well, we now know that the shooter in Texas at the ICE facility really wasn't trying to kill the migrants. He was trying to kill the ICE agents, and prior to the shooting, he journaled. Hopefully this will give ICE agents real terror. You know what this means, don't you? CNN is going to move on from the story now. Over the last 24 hours, CNN has spent extraordinary amounts of energy insisting we do not know the motivation of the shooter in Texas. It was Kim or whatever her name is. She's a Harvard professor and a national security analyst at CNN. It seems her entire job is to go on social media after a progressive attacks someone and insist we don't know that the person's a progressive until the moment you know the person is a progressive, at which point the whole conversation is required to shift. Again, I was at CNN during the Gabby Gifford shooting, and we spent multiple days discussing right-wing rhetoric and violence in the country and how it was all tied to the Giffords assassination attempt. And then when it turned out Jared Loughner was actually a crazy person with no political thought, boy, they dropped that story quick. They did the same thing. Friends of mine, I was not there when James Hodgkinson attempted the mass assassination of Republicans in Congress. Have a number of friends who were, and they all tell the same story. The moment it came out he was a progressive, CNN changed the subject. They will change the subject now. And the problem, and I do single out CNN, is because it is a network that insists to this day it is not partisan and has no agenda, and increasingly is no different from MSNBC, which has itself operated in such a way as to form a permission structure for the left-wing assassinations we're seeing around the country. MSNBC at this point is essentially an assassination pornography network where they're egging on the vulnerable and disturbed Democrats to take violence, and CNN is playing a role in giving an excuse structure to say, it's not really us, until it is, and then they move on. This guy in Texas was a progressive who wanted ICE to be scared. Now, I don't want you to be scared of doing business with an online bank. I did business with an online bank, and I got real frustrated. I couldn't deposit cash. And then I discovered Old Glory Bank, and I went out to Old Glory Bank and said, I would love to do business with you. I would love to get a bank account with you. And they're like, not yet. We're working through the regulatory process. Only people in Oklahoma can do it. And then they became a nationally chartered bank. I was like, I want an account. I got an account with them. I got a checking account, a savings account, no fee checking, no fee savings. You can get business accounts with Old Glory Bank. What you do is you go to oldglorybank.com/Eric, oldglorybank.com/ERICK. You sign up with Old Glory Bank. You can get a no-fee checking, no-fee savings account like I have. You can get premium accounts. You can get business accounts. You can get loans for mortgages, for car loans. You can get CDs. If you're a business account, they have great business clientele and business representatives to work with you, and they're one of the fastest-growing banks in the country. oldglorybank.com/Eric. It is where you can get your accounts. If you're a veteran or first responder, they have great discounts for you and waive fees on certain accounts. You can go to oldglorybank.com/Eric to find out more. oldglorybank.com/ERICK. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Terms and conditions apply.
When the news matters to you.
The FAA says the flight crew was reporting possible smoke in the flight deck.
95.5 WSB has you covered.
Beef prices are going up.
Your 24/7 news source.
They had no ties to a gang. Killed by
When
them.
you need the story, all you need to do is listen. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's breaking news station. Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News.
Weather.
Traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Jim Ellis Automotive. The FTC slapping the largest fine in its history against a major tech company. Mike Dabosky has more.
The FTC says Amazon tricked customers into signing up for Prime subscriptions and made it overly difficult for them to cancel those memberships. The company is now settling the case, which began earlier this week. They'll have to pay $2.5 billion in fines.
All right, your weather for today. Cloudy, on and off rain showers, and a few thunderstorms possible. Highs around 81, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. This is new at 12:30. Gwinnett police need your help finding a man wanted in connection with a fraud investigation.
The accused here, Anthony Sherlock, he met with a victim he found on Facebook Marketplace in order to purchase a vehicle.
That is Juan Marieto with Gwinnett Police. He says that 33-year-old Anthony Sherlock met with that individual to buy a vehicle at a bank. Turns out he purchased it with a fraudulent check. The woman who was selling the car is out $13,000 now. A cash reward is being offered for information leading to an arrest. Police say he's wanted in at least 4 other cases there in Gwinnett County. We're posting his picture at WSBradio.com. Take a look. Cobb police arrest a third person in connection with that shooting death of a 9-month-old girl at a motel near Truist Park. Javian Young charged now with murder, possession of a firearm during a felony, and aggravated assault. Ladarius Brown was previously arrested on the same charges. A third suspect is charged with tampering with evidence. If you notice you are having trouble concentrating or you're forgetting things, you're not alone. A Yale study finds a rising number of adults here in the U.S., particularly people under the age of 40, are reporting serious issues with their memory and concentration. Researchers say more studies needed to understand if this reflects actual changes in the brain health or people are just more aware and have a willingness to report cognitive problems. And when it comes to home sales, a positive sign in the housing market. The latest government report says new home sales last month jumped 20% compared to July. That's a bigger than expected increase and also a 3-year high. It's 12:32.
My wife has genuinely gotten into meal prep. She's back on counting macros and protein and stuff. You know what makes it really easy? OmahaSteaks.com. They have these individually wrapped boneless chicken breasts. They're portioned perfectly. You can do the New York strips as well, even burgers if you want. They've got great lean protein. They've got lots of fish and shrimp and pork. It makes it very easy if you're into healthy eating, and it's high quality too. Great stuff, great quality, great products from Omaha Steaks right now, and it's 50% off site-wide. 50% off at omahasteaks.com. And then at checkout, use promo code ERIC, E-R-I-C-K. You get an extra $35 off at omahasteaks.com. Minimum order required. Go load up your cart. Do your meal prep shopping at Omaha Steaks. They deliver it to your door. Cook what you need. Keep it in the freezer till you need it. omahasteaks.com. At checkout, you use promo code ERIC, E-R-I-C-K. Get an extra $35 off. All of this happening right now at omahasteaks.com.
When it comes to your home, quality is crucial. Trust the Plus. Painting Plus. The Plus means siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and of course, painting.
Hi, I'm Charlie, owner of Painting Plus and the Plus family of businesses. Quality comes first. We have the most experienced exterior craftsmen in the industry.
If your home's exterior has it, the Plus can improve it. Painting Plus. Siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and more. Trust the Plus. PaintingPlus.com.
Belinda here with another satisfied patient with a great story to tell you about Atlanta Vision Institute. Lisa had the laser optics procedure. Why did you choose Atlanta Vision Institute?
Well, I'd been wearing contacts or glasses for the last 50 years and decided one day that I'd had enough. I have an active lifestyle and the glasses just were getting in the way.
Now, after the procedure with Dr. Ashraf at Atlanta Vision Institute, what were the results like?
It was amazing. I could see the highway signs from far away, and I was able to thread the needle on my sewing machine without any help.
Nobody can do that. That's amazing. Folks, if you feel like you're at your wit's end with your vision, why don't you go see Dr. Ashraf at Atlanta Vision Institute? Go to 2020atlanta.com and see if you're a candidate for the laser optics procedure. Go to 2020atlanta.com.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Here's Alex Williams.
Still watching the right lane construction, 75 northbound, Chastain Road, exit 271 in Kennesaw, and left lane construction, 575 northbound at 6's Road. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Cloudy skies with scattered rain showers and a few rumbles of thunder today. High 81.
We'll have more news at 1 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
The phone number, 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program, do y'all know what Ivanpah is? I think that's the name of it. When I go to Las Vegas, I can see it. In fact, pilots who take off from Los Angeles and from Las Vegas complain about it. And it has caused damage to people's eyes, among other things. It's a power plant out in California. You probably remember this thing. Instead of using solar panels on the ground, there's a tower about 450 feet in the air, and mirrors around it focus the sunlight onto the top of the tower and generate so much heat that it boils water, turns to steam, is used to rotate turbines. And, well, I want to play this video for you. Kevin Dalton has put this up. They're shutting this project down years early. Just listen to this.
Why did the government fund a 5-square-mile laser death ray that kills 6,000 birds a year? That is Ivanpah, a solar farm in the Mojave Desert. And the bird apocalypse isn't even the biggest part of this boondoggle. So 15 years ago, Google, NRG Energy, and BrightSource Energy got together for this idea. They would sell solar power to PG&E and California Edison until 2039. But they needed funding. So Bechtel, who's a big government contractor, helped them get a $1.6 billion loan from the Department of Energy. See all those mirrors? Yeah, there's 350,000 of them, and each one is the size of a garage door. They reflect sunlight onto boilers 450 feet high as part of the solar thermal process. The project promised to create 1,000 construction jobs and power 140,000 homes. And that didn't happen. In theory, everyone would benefit, from workers and local communities to politicians pushing green energy. Now, the facility opened in 2014, and it didn't take long to realize that mirrors attract bugs and birds eat bugs, and mirrors themselves get really hot. The reflected rays at Ivanpah literally singed birds to death mid-air, leaving clouds of smoke called streamers. The project was also terrible for desert tortoises and destroyed irreplaceable, pristine desert habitat. But the real problem was about power. Ivanpah only operated at half capacity. Apparently, officials hadn't considered things like weather or equipment challenges impacting energy production. You know, like they should have. NRG said it could take years for Ivanpah to hit its annual energy goals. In the meantime, they'd use natural gas to operate the boilers. So much so that they even needed state approval to increase the gas limit. Turns out the sun didn't shine as much as everyone hoped, and the facility could no longer compete with newer, more efficient technology. Today, Ivanpah employs 61 people, but soon it will be 0. PG&E ended their contract 15 years early, and Ivanpah will close 2 of its 3 units by 2026. For the
American taxpayers paid for this, and they've lost out. Chris Wright is the Secretary of Energy. He was on CNN and got into it with the host there because there's a new report out from Lazard about green energy. And they kind of misrepresented in this report solar and wind power, and he's got to explain it to the CNN reporter who doesn't like being mansplained to with the truth.
Lazard just put out a report that says renewables remain the most cost-competitive form of generating and distributing energy. And even just anecdotally, oil-producing giant Saudi Arabia is investing big in solar, which sends a message. So how is it a con or a scam?
So the Lazard report, of course, is crazy because they use a thing called levelized cost of energy, as if they're delivering the same thing. A natural gas power plant drives energy 24/7. Wind and solar, it's when the wind blows and when the sun shines. There's no customer for that energy. Do you want your kid in an incubator, and if the sun goes behind a cloud, the incubator?
You've got to have backup. Yes, you have to have backup.
That's right.
Sure, but the whole concept of renewable energies as a scam.
When you include the backup cost, it's a huge driver of increased cost. California and Florida had similar cost electricity 20 years ago. California went down this renewable energy road. Florida built more natural gas. Today, California's electricity prices are twice as high as Florida's, and Florida produces more electricity than California. You make energy expensive, people consume less of it, and your industries will leave, and your voters will be angry.
Well, and that's the point. People will use less of it. That's the key, is the environmentalist movement wants to send us back to the Dark Ages. They don't actually want to progress society. They want to regress society. That's what they're doing. And to his point, so that you understand what Lazard did, is they said, if you essentially compare the solar and wind production rate to the nuclear, coal, and natural gas production rate, but only at times they're working, they're comparable. And as Wright points out, the Secretary of Energy points out, the problem is that nuclear, coal, and natural gas work 24/7. Solar power only works when the sun is sufficiently high in the sky and it's not raining or cloudy. And wind power only works when the wind is blowing. And Lazard is essentially saying, well, let's take what the cost is during that time and subtract out the downtime, and we can get comparable rates, which is nonsensical when one works 24/7, 365, and the other doesn't even work for 12 hours. The left and the media are so committed to this, though, that they can't think rationally about it because it's all climate change and we're all going to die. It's nonsensical. And, this is a perfect segue into the nonsense of the Democrats in this government shutdown. I got to be real clear to you here. I need to explain to you what is going on. Democrats in Washington don't actually want to go through with a government shutdown next week. They don't really want to go through with it. But they have to go through with it. They have to go through with it because they're scared of the Democratic base. Democratic politicians in Washington are afraid of physical violence against themselves if they are not seen as sufficiently antagonistic to Donald Trump. Think about that. They are actually scared of harm, physical harm from their base. So the Democrats are going to shut down the government in 5 days. You're not going to get the truth from the media on this, and I am telling you the God's honest truth here. Progressives are screaming about it, but it's the truth. In 2021, with the massive inflation-producing spending package that Democrats produced, they gave a lot of money into the medical system and healthcare. A lot of that money wasn't spent. And they voted to pull that money back. Now the Democrat argument is that instead of pulling the money back, they need to put more in to the system, and they're trying to accuse Republicans of defunding health care in the country. Remember, it's the Democrats who voted to stop spending the money. But now that the Republicans are in charge, the Democrats say, it's the Republicans, they want to stop spending this money in health care. Democrats already voted to stop spending the money. Now they actually want to spend the money and claim that the Republicans are the ones stopping it, but they're the ones who already voted for it. The Republicans want a clean continuing resolution, meaning we're going to continue to fund the government as it's funded, no new spending. And the Democrats insist on adding this new spending. Why this new spending? Because it was old spending that the Democrats got rid of, and now they want to put it back in the budget. And that's their hill to die on. The Democrats want to shut down the government. They want to make it over health care funding, by the way, not tariffs, which a lot of Democratic strategists are thinking, why aren't y'all fighting over tariffs instead? But they don't want to. They want to make it about health care. And they're willing to shut down the government. Yesterday on this program, I told you, if the Democrats shut down the government, they will be empowering a man named Russell T. Vought, the Director of Office of Management and Budget, a man I know very well. A man who hates the size and scope of the federal government and who knows the federal budget like the back of his hand. He used to read it for fun. Back when we were kids, Russ was the nerd who would read the federal budget. Well, the Office of Management and Budget is instructing federal agencies to prepare reduction in force plans for mass firings during a possible government shutdown, targeting employees who work for programs that are not legally required to continue. See, with DOGE, what did DOGE do? DOGE did reductions in force by layoffs. We're laying you off, and now a lot of the people DOGE laid off, they're coming back to work. They're getting brought back into work. They laid off critical staff and critical functions at the National Weather Service, the NOAA, things like that, and NASA, and now they're like, actually, we do need you guys, come back to work. Russ is doing it differently than Elon Musk because he can with a government shutdown. What Russ Vought is doing is saying the fiscal year ends September 30th. There are discretionary programs within the federal government, and those discretionary programs must be funded annually. They don't generate outside revenue to perpetuate themselves. For example, the FAA and the TSA, they are funded by ticket sales for airplanes. So you buy a ticket on your local Spirit, Frontier, Delta, America United, whatever. One of the fees you pay goes to pay the salaries of the FAA employees and the TSA employees. When the government shuts down, airports don't shut down because they're funded through this fee that is a completely different process for funding than normal annual appropriations. However, there are discretionary agencies within the federal government where if the government doesn't fund it annually, there's no money to fund the person. And instead of laying the person off, Russ Vought is going to tell the departments, fire the person. Now, the Democratic spin on this, and you got to appreciate the Democratic spin on this. It is, well, Russ isn't going to really do it. The Democrats are going to call their bluff because, I mean, look at DOGE. They're already hiring people back. Ha, 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 ha. You Democrats have missed the point. If Russ Vought tells the Smithsonian, which is a discretionary agency, it's got to be funded every year. If Russ Vought tells the Smithsonian, you have to fire all of your employees when the museum shut down, they got to fire the art directors. They got to fire the museum guides. They got to fire the museum directors. Not just lay them off, fire them, because they're discretionary. And at the end of September, a new budget starts, and they're not funded. So fire them. We don't have the money, fire them. You'll say, but we're not going to leave the Smithsonian unmanned. I mean, when the government starts up again, we're going to reopen it. Yes, you're right. But by firings instead of layoffs, they can now hire new people. They're not bound to bring back the old people. See, with Doge, they laid them off. And if you needed new people, you had to fill the old people because they were laid off. But if you fire them, you don't have to rehire the same people. You can hire new people. You can hire MAGA people. You can kill the deep state by pushing all of these people out from agencies that are discretionary. Social Security continues, Medicaid continues, Medicare continues, Veterans Benefits continues, military operations continue, law enforcement continues, ICE continues, Customs and Border Patrol continues, TSA continues, air traffic control continues. But what about the Smithsonian, where we got a bunch of woke museum directors? No. What about the grant writing and grant approval operations within various departments like the Department of Education? That's discretionary funding. You can fire all the people approving the grants for DEI within the Department of Education instead of just laying them off. There are lots of ways for Russ to do the things Russ Vought has spent a lifetime plotting how to do. See, this is the problem for the Democrats, is it would have been so much better for the Democrats if Donald Trump had won re-election in 2020, because he'd be gone by now. He'd been term limited. He would have been out the door. Instead, you gave Russ Vought 4 years to wander in the wilderness and think about what he would do to the government if he got back in. And Russ Vought is now back in. And he figured out, if you lay off under federal work rules, if you lay someone off and you want to rehire, you got to go back to the pool of people laid off. But if you fire, you can go to new people when you got to rehire. And if the government shuts down, these various entities become unfunded. And if there's unfunded entities, there's no one there to be paid a paycheck. You can fire them because there's no money, and you get around all the work rules and everything else. It's not a layoff. It's a permanent firing. And then when you decide it's time, well, we got to fill these positions, they're funded now, you don't have to go back to those people. You don't have to have those people reapply for their jobs. You can go find your people and insert your people at various entities in the government that have gone rogue and woke. The Democrats are walking into a trap, and they have to walk into it. You got to understand that the Democrats have to walk into this trap because their base has demanded they fight Donald Trump, and that includes on health care and the budget. This is a fight the Democrats can't win, but they got to fight it or risk bullets coming in their direction from their own base. That's how violent and angry the Democratic base is getting with even Democratic politicians. They made their bed. They're going to have to sleep in this.
Honest.
Putting your trust in me to tell you what's going on.
Transparent.
I need you to know this from the bottom of my heart.
Giving you the information without the noise.
My job isn't to tell you what you want to hear, it's to tell you the truth.
It's the Erick Erickson Show.
1251 Cool-Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Still watching that slow traffic between Marietta and Kennesaw with the right lane construction. 75 North Chastain Road, exit 271. Southbound, a few brake lights out of Acworth. You got trouble off to the right below Wade Green Road. Left lane guardrail repair in Holly Springs, 575 northbound at 6's Road. And don't forget police activity near the Battery, shutting down Highway 41 southbound at Circle 75. Traffic brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Boost your day at Whole Foods Market. Get 30% off all packaged coffee with Prime through September 13th while supplies last. Shop in store or online. Terms apply. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
On air,
Online,
on the app,
where you get your news,
is where you'll win.
Download the WSB radio app now and maybe win $1,000.
Oh my God! The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
5 words, 5 times a day, every weekday.
I just won $1,000.
Just enter the word at WSBRadio.com or on the WSB radio app. The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
Your next chance to win is at 2 p.m.
Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watch Company, where quality and value make the difference. Locally owned and located in Sandy Springs, offering the finest selection of unique European jewelry designs. Lee Brandt has natural and lab-grown diamonds with a large selection of engagement ring settings. Lee Brandt has serviced Rolex watches for over 30 years, and their trained watchmaker will service your Rolex in store. Lee Brandt uses only genuine Rolex parts, and estimates are free. Drop by Lee Brandt in the Trader Joe's Shopping Center in Sandy Springs, or visit LeeBrandt.com.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, with all the things we're reading, seeing, and living through these days, from rate cuts, election season, and now a new administration, now seems like a great time to make sure we have that comprehensive plan in place. You know, the one that covers all our financial bases.
There are occasions throughout the year where I feel like it's critical for people to engage their financial lives and get the information that they deserve from a financial advisory team. And this is one of those times, to be quite frank. So we ask that you call us if you have a minimum of $500,000 in your full portfolio. But we're going to do away with that minimum so that those folks can have an equal opportunity to understand what's in their portfolio as well. Now, you have to have some money, right? I can't help you to build your wealth at work, right? But I sure can help, I believe, with your 401k, IRA management. There's probably 2 or 3 things that'll surprise you that you may want to take action on. So the next 10 people that call in, we'll work up either a portfolio x-ray, or if you feel like you need a full retirement plan, go to unleashyourmoney.com, click on portfolio x-ray, or click on full retirement plan. We think you'll be impressed enough, and we want you to become a client. There's no question about it. We believe that we are a very competent fiduciary advisory team, and we want to offer that to our listeners. Let Hoffman Financial Group actually show you how we perform, and I believe we perform at the pinnacle of this industry.
Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
Scratching, scampering, and scurrying noises in your attic? You've got squirrels. Hey, it's Mark Aram here. Better get Breda Pest Management to kick them out before those squirrely scoundrels start running an Airbnb in your attic. Those squirrels not leaving without a fight. They'll keep coming back, chewing new holes over and over again. Under the Breda Wildlife Guarantee, you stay protected and at no additional cost.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Just joined us? No worries. Check out the Eric Erickson Show 24/7 stream at ericerickson.com. Available for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto.
Well, there's some big news, particularly for those of you out in Oklahoma. You know, there have been a lot of news out of Oklahoma the last couple of days that I've covered on the show, the OSU coach and other things. But all of you nationally, you know, Ryan Walters has come to the gathering in Atlanta. Good guy. He's announced that he is stepping down as state superintendent in Oklahoma. He'll resign from the office, take a job in the private sector. He made the announcement that he will be joining Teacher Freedom Alliance. The Oklahoma State Board of Education will hold its September meeting on Thursday. The agenda for the meeting says Walters will have remarks at the beginning of the session, but there's no other mention of a possible resignation announcement. He told KOCO in Oklahoma that he was weighing entering the Oklahoma governor's race. He says, quote, again, I've got a lot of folks that really want me to jump in, and so I've told them I'm focused on the session. I'm focused on the school year. We want to continue to see our schools be as good as possible. And, you know, we'll have conversations this summer around that. A potential replacement could be the Secretary of Education, Nellie Sanders, according to Governor Stitt's office. Sanders was appointed in 2024, is dyslexic, and has worked to help people with disabilities in education. Now, thing to note here is that the Oklahoma Attorney General Drummond is running for Republican governor, and he would be terrible out there. He's the guy who fought Catholics on the ability to get a charter school set up out there. He's a pretty progressive lots of money, wants to flood the zone, and he would be not a good candidate for the GOP. So having a good conservative would be great in that race. Americans for Prosperity wants you to get involved with conservatism around the country, and really they want you to take a step for freedom in your community. You go to AFPvolunteer.com. You can find out more at AFPvolunteer.com. You can take a step for freedom in your community, and they want to get 250,000 Americans taking a step for freedom in their 250,000 Steps for Freedom Challenge. You do it, I do it, 250,000 of us do it, and we advance freedom in the country. In time for our 250th birthday as a nation, we meaningfully improve our communities, one community at a time, one step at a time, one step for freedom at a time. Go to AFPvolunteer.com to find out more, AFPvolunteer.com. Americans for Prosperity would love to also get you involved in fighting for common sense conservatism around the country. You can do that at AFPvolunteer.com as well. Sign up, get involved. They've got chapters in every state. They advance freedom around the country. I'm going to be doing an event for them in Vermont, as a matter of fact, in a couple of weeks. AFPvolunteer.com is where you want to go.
Coming up on the Friday edition of Atlanta's Morning News from 5 to 9 after a soggy end to this work week, what meteorologist Christina Edwards says we can expect for the weekend and into next week. Plus, Clark Howard looks at insurance offered by one big-name wholesaler on WSB.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard joining MediShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network, so yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
News, weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Hi there. Good afternoon. It is 1 o'clock. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news is sponsored by Dr. Roof. In Gwinnett County, police need your help in finding a man wanted in connection with a fraud investigation. Police say 33-year-old Anthony Sherlock met a woman that he met on Facebook Marketplace to buy a vehicle, but he paid with a fraudulent check.
Once he left and they parted ways and he left with the vehicle, the next day, the bank notified the victim that the check was actually altered, and they would have to remove those funds from her account.
Corporal Juan Marietta with Gwinnett Police says the victim is out $13,000. There are at least 4 other similar cases in Gwinnett County involving Sherlock. Anybody with information being asked to contact Crime Stoppers, you could be eligible for a cash reward. Cloudy with on and off rain showers and a few thunderstorms possible today. Highs around 81, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Part of Cub Parkway near the Battery in Truist Park is shut down right now. There's a large police presence there. We are hearing that this might have been a chase that ended with gunfire. We're working to find out more. Check back. We'll bring you any new information as we get it. A man was shot and killed in Roswell this morning. This was at the Rosemont apartment complex on Rosemont Parkway around 8:30. Police say it was an isolated domestic incident. A suspect is in custody this afternoon. No names have yet been released. Amazon reached a historic $2.5 billion settlement with the Federal Trade Commission, which said that the online giant tricked customers into signing up for its Prime membership and then made it difficult to cancel that after they did so. Amazon admits no wrongdoing in this settlement. Measles cases on a new high in the U.S. now. Since the disease was declared eradicated 25 years ago, more than 1,500 cases reported by the CDC. Just this week, 3 new cases were reported in Fulton County. This makes 10 confirmed measles cases so far in Georgia this year. Outbreaks are spreading also in Utah and Arizona. And there's some good news when it comes to the labor market here in Metro Atlanta.
The State Department of Labor says Metro Atlanta's unemployment rate's holding steady at 3.5%. It was 3.9% a year ago. Jobs are up slightly in the metro. Local government sees the biggest gains from July with an additional 7,400 positions. Healthcare and social assistance positions jumped by about 2,600. On the other hand, jobs are down about 3,000 in the arts, entertainment, and recreation sector. with a similar drop in professional, scientific, and technical services. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
As we check your money, the Dow, NASDAQ, S&P all in the red. It's 102.
Scott Slade here to talk to you about your health, and I think it's real important to talk about what is most likely to kill you. Heart disease is the #1 killer of Americans, and the older we get, the more prevalent it is. But you can reduce your risk. Eat right, don't smoke, exercise, and be informed about what's going on in your own body. Like lots of potentially serious health problems, if you catch heart disease early, you vastly increase your chances of living a longer life. And that's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging scans take less than 10 minutes and screen with 98% accuracy for heart disease. Other scans, including brain and full body, are available too. Virtual imaging is locally owned and operated in Atlanta for over 15 years, so they can make you this terrific offer. A complimentary heart scan for you and your spouse with a few minimum requirements. So don't put this off. I've done it. Call Virtual Imaging today for your free heart scan. 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-7226. Or visit their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
You may have a great-looking yard, but is your home's paint job failing in the curb appeal department?
Don't be that homeowner with the ugly paint that your neighbors talk about. Get Rhino Shield.
Rhino Shield isn't just paint. It's an ultimate exterior coating that will improve your home's curb appeal, backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
Rhino Shield won't chip, crack, or peel. It's mold and mildew resistant, and its durability will not only protect your home from Mother Nature, but it can also make your home more energy efficient.
And it comes in any color, even your wife's favorite.
So beautify your home and get curb appeal for 25 years with Rhino Shield.
Check out our work and visualize Rhino Shield on your home at rhinoshieldga.com.
Or call 678-205-4500 now for a free quote, or visit rhinoshieldga.com.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Rhino Shield, it's better than paint.
Skip the hassles of a traditional home sale and sell your home quickly with the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. There are no showings, no open houses, and no stress. Hi, it's Chris Chandler. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing.
It's 105. Time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Very busy on the northwest side, Sabrina. Travel advisory crash 75 southbound, South Marietta Parkway. That's in 2 left lanes. Use Highway 41. Cobb Parkway southbound shut down by the battery at Circle 75 Parkway with a police investigation. And if you were traveling 75 north into Kennesaw, still got that right lane construction up around Chastain Road, exit 271, slowing you back into Marietta. Again, Highway 41 of the express lanes are alternates there. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Cloudy skies today with scattered rain showers and a few thunderstorms, high 81. Scattered rain showers continue for tonight, lows in the upper 60s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, rain and thunderstorms moving through, high 79. Drying out on Saturday with highs in the low 80s.
And as you've probably noticed, the days are getting shorter. Tonight's sunset is 7:30. Right now in Smyrna, you have partly cloudy skies and 80 degrees. It's 81 degrees in Monroe. And in Holly Springs, it's partly cloudy and 76. We'll have more news at 1:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Eric Erickson here across the United States. 877-973-7425 is the phone number. If you text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to the number 33777, you can get the show notes, the live stream, the podcast, everything else that you need for the show. I put this off until this hour because we had the big news about the economy. We've got the news about energy, and we got the news about the shutdown. So I wanted to wait. And if you haven't gotten my morning piece, if you do text the word data to 33777, you can get I think it's a 15-20% discount on the show notes. If you just text Eric to 33777, you can get it as well. The headline this morning is my nationally syndicated column, "We Arrive at My Fear." I wanted to wait to get here. We have arrived at the moment. I have, for the last several years, been telling my listeners on this program and my readers of my daily email that violence from the left is coming. And people on the left routinely reply, but January 6th, but January 6th. And I reply to each of them, you don't know your history. I don't dispute there have been moments of right-wing violence in this country. And much as the left, people on the right have oftentimes said, well, they're not really on our side. Tim McVeigh and what happened with the Oklahoma City and the Murrah Federal Building in 1994, that was not someone from a right-wing coalition from the conservative movement, but it was someone who was guided by a right-wing ideology. People on the right abhor when you say that, but it's true. There have been moments of right-wing violence in this country. But there have been way more moments of left-wing violence in this country's history, in large part because of how nihilistic left-wing violence is. Most people on the right, and you do have to understand this philosophically, most people on the right recognize there is a heaven and a hell in addition to this earth. And the goal is to get to heaven, not to hell, when you leave this earth. And that requires a set of moral standards, including not murdering other people. There are people on the right, though, who decide that they are God's agent. They go a little nuts and they go off the deep end and they decide they're going to take out other people, or they have become atheistic members of the right and they want to build a heaven on earth. And the problem is that on the left, secular atheism is more and more the default. And in secular atheism, you believe there is no heaven, there is no hell, this is all we have. And you have to do whatever you can to save this planet. And you've got to bring heaven to earth. You have to create utopia. And those knuckle-dragging mouth breathers who stand in your way have to be eliminated in some capacity. And in too many left-wing cases, it turns to genocide. It turns to mass violence and murder, whether it is National Socialism, which is socialism, Nazism, which is, they say, is coded right, but they're actually pretty progressive. Communism, which is definitely progressive, indisputably progressive. Maoism, which is a more virulent form of communism. And what we see in this country now with the left, whether it's the Weather Underground or the Black Liberation Army, left-wing groups descend into violence because they have to bring heaven to earth. They got to create a utopia, and to do it, they have to eliminate the opposition who they've decided are evil. But January 6th, on March 1st, 1954, a group of left-wing Puerto Rican nationalists shot up the House of Representatives, shooting members of the House of Representatives from the gallery. On March 1st, 1971, the Progressive Weather Underground bombed the U.S. Capitol. But January 6th, they actually bombed the U.S. Capitol and did it again on November 6, 1983, something called the Armed Resistance Unit, which was a far-left group affiliated with the remnant of the Weather Underground and the Black Liberation Army, bombed the United States Senate. But January 6th, these were actually bombing the Capitol. And so what the left does is now they move the goalpost to, well, they were attempting to overthrow a democratic election. It didn't work. It didn't work. What I have been talking about for some time now is how the permission structure has been being developed and primed for violence on the left in this country. In 2017, writing in the New York Times, Linda Feldman Barrett, I think a Northwestern University professor and a noted psychologist, argued that, and I'm going to read you her words. If words can cause stress, and if prolonged stress can cause physical harm, then it seems that speech, at least certain types of speech, can be a form of violence. In 2017, progressives were beginning to seed the idea that words are violence. Very important that you make the distinction here. We're not saying words are violent. Some words can be violent. But words being violent are different from words being violence. Violence is something that directly causes you harm, physical harm. And they began arguing, and academics have been arguing, and progressive have embraced the philosophical idea that words are violence, and because words are violence, they can be responded to with other violence, other manifestations of violence. And since words can cause physical harm to you, physical harm can be done to those who speak the words. Jonathan Haidt gets a lot of chatter these days. He's the guy advocating banning cell phones from schools and making teenagers give up their cell phones. The left and the right, they love him these days. He responded to Lisa Feldman Barrett in The Atlantic in 2017, and he wrote this: telling college students and high schoolers that words are violence, telling them that words, ideas, and speakers can literally kill them. Even worse, at a time of rapidly rising political polarization in America, it helps a small subset of that generation justify political violence if you tell them words are violence. The conflation of words with violence is not a new or progressive idea invented on college campuses in the last 2 years. It's an ancient and regressive idea. Americans should all be troubled that it is becoming popular again, especially on college campuses where it least belongs. They seeded the philosophical rot that words are violence, and then they created the permission structure to meet those words with actual violence. Thomas Matthew Crooks laid down on a rooftop in Butler, Pennsylvania, pointed the rifle scope and rifle in the direction of President Trump, who was speaking on a stage nearby, and pulled the trigger. As he was pulling the trigger and the bullet flying through the air, on MSNBC, The Conversation, with a little window showing the rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, the conversation was how Donald Trump was going to become an authoritarian dictator if someone didn't stop him. He would be corrupt and needed to be stopped. On Election Day in 2024, Michael Beschloss was on Morning Joe on MSNBC. And you got to remember that Beschloss, he's kind of one of the grand poobah historian talking heads that they love to have on Morning Joe on MSNBC. And he said this.
And if people are allowed to go on television and say what they think in the future, which again, that question is open this morning, in the future, historians are going to look back on this day and say, this is the day that America made a choice between freedom and democracy on one side and authoritarianism and dictatorship on the other.
12 hours before polling closed, he was on MSNBC saying historians were going to look back on this day and say this is the day America made the choice between freedom and democracy on one side and authoritarianism and dictatorship on the other side. And they chose Donald Trump, a man he said was going to be a dictator and would never surrender power. MSNBC and other progressive media outlets created a structure, a permission structure for people to commit violence. I was on CNN in 2011 when Jared Lee Loughner attempted to assassinate Congresswoman Gabby Giffords and did assassinate a federal judge. The conversations immediately turned to right-wing violence. On CNN, I was there when the anchors were pointing the finger at Sarah Palin, who used the, in their words, militaristic language of targeting Gabby Giffords, a word that had been used by politicians on both sides and by campaigns on both sides for decades. Suddenly, Sarah Palin was the one who caused this assassination. The New York Times blamed Sarah Palin for the assassination. Turns out Jared Lee Loughner was a nut job. He had no underlying philosophy to the extent his friends said he did. He was a socialist. He was just crazy and obsessed with Gabby Giffords. And as soon as it turned out it wasn't right-wing violence, CNN changed the subject. Friends of mine who were at CNN in 2017 said when it turned out James Hodgkinson, who tried to mass assassinate Republicans, turned out to be an MSNBC watcher, they dropped the conversation, stopped talking about it altogether. It was a both sides thing and Trump provoking violence until the moment he turned out to watch Rachel Maddow, and suddenly they stopped talking about it. CNN, the New York Times, other media outlets have created an excuse structure for the left. This morning on CNN, they were literally discussing how Joshua John, the shooter yesterday who killed the people in Texas, there's no motive. We have no idea why he did it. He wrote anti-ICE on a bullet casing. Joshua John wrote in his journal beforehand that by shooting at ICE, ICE would live in fear, and that's what they needed. But Juliette Kamen on CNN, she's their national security analyst, rushes to social media whenever a progressive engages in violence. We don't know if it was because they were on the left. CNN, MSNBC creates the assassination permission structure. CNN produces the exculpatory excuse structure where you can say, we don't really know the motive on the left. It's always someone on the right, but on the left, both sides do it, and we don't know about this guy. And then Donald Trump got elected, and it triggered the left. Donald Trump's election was the triggering event. You had the philosophical rot festering. Then you had the permission structure from MSNBC. Then you had the excuse structure from CNN. And then you had the trigger. The left lost their power. Donald Trump's elected. They've been saying he was an authoritarian. If he came back to power, you got to act. And then the left ramped up the rhetoric. Chris Murphy, senator from Connecticut, tells progressives you got to get comfortable doing things you otherwise wouldn't be comfortable doing. We are in his words, a war. In fact, Chris Murphy is now on MSNBC saying calling ICE agents Nazis isn't something that ramps up the rhetoric. The man just said the Democrats are at war and they got to get comfortable doing things they otherwise wouldn't do.
I want to ask you about the shooting in Dallas yesterday. 2 people killed, another injured, and some of the rhetoric we've been talking about this morning. Vice President Vance immediately at an event blaming the left, blaming Democrats before we had all the information. Certainly did the same after the horrific assassination of Charlie Kirk. Leadership in these moments, I'm thinking about you after Sandy Hook nearly 13 years ago. How important is it for leaders, especially at the very, very top of the government, to set the tone?
Listen, it should not matter whether the radicalization comes from the right or the left or, sort of the non-ideological deep, dark recesses of the internet. This vice president has had a chance now since the assassination of Charlie Kirk to bring the country together to try to stamp out all sorts of violence, including political violence, and they refuse to do that. What they are trying to do is exploit these murders and these shootings in order to silence only dissent and political opposition on the left. No, criticizing the way that ICE is rounding up people in this country in a deeply inhumane and immoral way is not an incitement to violence.
You got that? In a deeply inhumane and immoral way. And then attacking Vance and Trump for the rhetoric. Chris Murphy is literally the man the day before Charlie Kirk was assassinated who told the left they are at war and need to get comfortable doing things they otherwise wouldn't do because they got to save democracy. Gavin Newsom goes on Stephen Colbert and tells the left there's not going to be an election in 2028. Donald Trump is going to cancel it unless we do something to stop him. The only way this gets stopped now is because Donald Trump uses the FBI and the Justice Department to go shut down the funding scheme for the left and round up the left and arrest them because they're not policing it. They should police themselves. But when you've got United States senators like Chris Murphy get to go on the assassination network, MSNBC, and say they're the bad guys and what they're doing is Nazi-like behavior with no accountability for his own words, they want more violence. It's here now. What I've been telling you for several years was coming is here now. And even The Atlantic is willing to say it's disproportionately on the left now, and Democratic members of Congress live in fear of their base. We have reached the moment I feared would come. It's played out exactly as I have told you these last few years that it would.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
122 Cool Day Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Lots going on in the northwest. Travel advisory, crash 75 southbound in Marietta at the South 120 loop exit 263. 2 left lanes are blocked there. You can use Highway 41 as an alternate. Speaking of, Highway 41 Cobb Parkway southbound is shut down right next to the Battery at Circle 75. Police investigation there. And the right lane construction continues in Kennesaw, 75 northbound at Chastain Road. Traffic brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Save on organic best of season produce at Whole Foods Market. Get organic Honeycrisp apples for $3.49 per pound with Prime through September 30th while supplies last. Shop in store or online. Terms apply. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It pays to have the WSB radio app. Download it today and get ready for the Blitz.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. 5 chances every weekday to win $1,000.
$1,000 on WSB.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
Your next chance to win is at 2 p.m.
That is awesome.
From 95.5 WSB.
Download the WSB radio app now.
It's disturbing, right? You're in bed and you're hearing noises in the attic, but you don't see anything up there. Then you hear it again and again. What the heck is going on? Well, that happened to me. Hey, it's meteorologist Christina Edwards here. You've got flying squirrels in your attic. Better call Breda. It's breeding season for these smart, devious, and intrusive pests. They invade your home with a tiny, hard-to-find hole, and they hide their nest and their waste, plus they're nocturnal, only making their noise at night. Breda Pest Management will send a highly trained expert to secure all entry points, remove the critters, dispose of their nesting, and disinfect and deodorize. It'll be like they were never there. Under the Breda Wildlife Guarantee, you'll stay protected. If any critters return, you're covered at no additional cost. Breda Pest Management. They handle bugs and critters. BREDA pest.com.
Breda, Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
So your septic system needs repairs. That stinks. First, they want to charge you to pump out the tank and charge you again for the repair. That's just wrong. Hi, I'm Shannon, owner of Scorpion Septic, and we don't do that. With us, there's never a pump out charge with your repair. You'll save hundreds.
Take the sting out of septic service with Scorpion Septic, where there is never a pump out charge with your repair. Call for more information.
ScorpionSepticServices.com. Hi, I'm Dustin, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. I know finding a dream engagement ring can be overwhelming, but don't worry, we got you. As director of diamond sourcing, it's my job to make sure every single diamond at Shane Company is truly the best of the best. Our team travels the world to see diamonds up close, in person. We handpick each one for its unique fire, brilliance, and scintillation. Diamond buying is an art. Of course, we look at cut, color, clarity, and carat, known as the 4 C's, but that's not all. We also look at how each diamond looks on a hand, where it will be worn, how it makes you feel, and if it's worthy of a Shane Company customer. That type of expertise only comes from working for a company that's been a family business since 1929. We also think about your budget. We only pick the best in each grade in all shapes and sizes. Your diamond is guaranteed to be the most beautiful because a friend wants you to pick from only the best. Drop by your store or shaneco.com and see for yourself. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Want to love your deck so much that you don't even want to go on vacation? Hi, I'm Scott Nelson, owner of Nelson Exteriors, and your new deck will be your family's favorite staycation. We do decks differently. Beautiful high-end decks at a reasonable price, materials you choose, and lots of options. With Nelson Exteriors, you'll get a high-quality, affordable, custom deck, handcrafted by our licensed and insured experts. For an extraordinary deck renovation, Google Nelson Exteriors.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into. And that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard joining MediShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network, so yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
Your non-stop news source. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Yes, you can. Call in 877-973-7425 if you want to be on the show. As always, if you text ERIC, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777, you can get the live stream, the podcast, the show notes, and a whole lot more. Glad to have you guys with me today. We've got a lot more in the show that we got to cover, and in particular, I got to talk about now the disconnected elite that are out there that don't really seem to have a clue of what's going on and don't understand how they're provoking violence. I want to play this montage for you. These are Democrats talking about ICE. See if you think this could provoke someone to deal with ICE in a violent way.
Every single ICE agent who's engaged in this aggressive overreach, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, will of course be identified. This is not the 1930s.
Secret police who are masked, who are intimidating, who are scaring people. These Gestapo-like tactics.
This is Gestapo-like behavior.
Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets.
When you compare the old films of the Gestapo grabbing people off the streets of Poland, it does look like a Gestapo operation.
Yeah, I wonder where Democrats have decided to turn violent comes from. I want you to go to EdenPureDeals.com today, put in the discount code ERIC3, and we can't clean up the Democrats, but we can clean up the air, get rid of stinky odors. You can get 3 Eden Pure Thunderstorms and save $200. Get them for less than $200 at EdenPureDeals.com. They're an air purifier, so they get rid of dust and pollen. They get rid of bacteria and viruses that float through the air and pull through the machine. But then it generates ozone, and ozone is known to wipe out odor. So you get 3 Eden Pure Thunderstorms, and you can start cleaning up the stinky smells in your house, upstairs, downstairs, your basement, your travel bag, your RV, wherever you need them. You go to EdenPureDeals.com. Use the discount code ERIC3, ERICK3, at EdenPureDeals.com. They're small, they're portable. I keep one in my travel bag. You can plug it into the wall or plug it up with a USB cord, and it just works at eliminating all odors, smoke odors, litter box odors. Someone smoked in the rental car before you got their odors. All of it wipes them out. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code ERIC3.
Buying a new car? Need help fixing your current car? What's the safest car for a first-time buyer? The Car Guys have the answer. Join Shelley Winter and automotive expert Kevin Deutsch this and every Saturday at 12 for all your car needs. The Car Guys, presented by Butler Lexus of South Atlanta, Saturdays at noon on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News, weather,
Traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news is sponsored by Ben Hill Renovation. Part of Cobb Parkway near the Battery and Truist Park is shut down right now. We have confirmed that GBI is on the scene, and they tell us it is a death investigation. We had heard earlier that there was possibly a chase that ended with gunfire. There is a large police presence there, as you might imagine. We're working to find out more. Stay with us or check back. We'll bring you any new information as we get it. In Fulton County, closing arguments underway at the trial of an alleged gang member who's charged with murder in the July 2020 death of 8-year-old Sequoia Turner. Julian Conley's defense calling one witness, a woman who says that men in black shot at the Jeep that night, not Conley.
And I'm so sorry for her loss. That was not what we was out there for, and that wasn't supposed to happen.
Prosecutors pointed out that the woman was looking at a second barricade up the street from where Conley was standing. The defense says her description does not fit Conley, who was wearing a red shirt that night. Cobb police arrest a third person in connection with the shooting death of a 9-month-old girl at a motel near Truist Park. Javian Young, charged with murder, possession of a firearm during a felony, aggravated assault. Ladarius Brown was previously arrested on the same charges. A third suspect is also charged with tampering with evidence. In Gwinnett County, police need your help in finding a man wanted in connection with a fraud investigation.
The accused here, Anthony Sherlock, he met with a victim he found on Facebook Marketplace in order to purchase a vehicle.
That is Juan Marietta with Gwinnett Police. He says 33-year-old Anthony Sherlock met with that individual, that woman, to buy a vehicle at a bank. Turns out He purchased it with a fraudulent check. The woman who was selling the car is out $13,000 now, a cash reward being offered for information leading to an arrest. He's wanted in at least 4 other cases that they're in Gwinnett County, and we have posted his picture for you, WSBRadio.com. And this is new at 1:30. Seafood wholesaler Moon and Sea is facing a federal lawsuit over sex discrimination. According to the suit filed by the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, the company's Buford facility passed over applicants who applied for jobs in the warehouse because they were female. Female applicants were told that the company preferred hiring men for that warehouse positions because men could lift more weight than women. Despite being fully qualified for the positions, female applicants were denied the positions in favor of less qualified men, according to this lawsuit. It's 1:32.
Well, I bet it is safe to say you are sick and tired of home services companies that don't show up on time, don't get it right, ghost you then when you need them later. Hey, it's Chris Chandler. I don't have to worry about any of that because I only trust TE Certified Electrical Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. TE Certified is a well-oiled machine with the highest level of communication and follow-up. They're on time, friendly, and fully stocked.
TE Certified, we love your home.
Looking for your next great adventure? At Capital Investment Advisors, we know travel isn't just a vacation. It's a core pursuit that fuels happiness. In fact, research shows happy retirees pursue nearly twice as many adventure-related core pursuits as unhappy retirees. That's why we created 101 trips to take in retirement. A free guide with luxury escapes, wellness retreats, cultural immersions, and trips for the grandkids. Download your copy today at yourwealth.com/101 trips.
Those wire shelves in your closet are just a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. Dave Baker for Artisan Custom Closets. At Artisan, we see it all the time. The wire shelves come crashing down. Clothes, shoes, bags are everywhere. It's a disaster zone. Save yourself before this happens to you. With a custom, spacious closet from Artisan, you'll never have to look at that clutter again. Your shoes, bags, clothes, accessories, all neatly organized and designed to stay that way. ArtisanCustomClosets.com.
Linda here with another satisfied patient with a great story to tell you about Atlanta Vision Institute. Lisa had the laser optics procedure. Why did you choose Atlanta Vision Institute?
Well, I'd been wearing contacts or glasses for the last 50 years and decided one day that I'd had enough. I have an active lifestyle and the glasses just were getting in the way.
Now, after the procedure with Dr. Ashraf at Atlanta Vision Institute, what were the results like?
It was amazing. I could see the highway signs from far away, and I was able to thread the needle on my sewing machine without any help.
Nobody can do that. That's amazing. Folks, if you feel like you're at your wit's end with your vision, why don't you go see Dr. Ashraf at Atlanta Vision Institute? Go to 2020atlanta.com and see if you're a candidate for the laser optics procedure. Go to 2020atlanta.com.
Alex Williams has a look at your roads.
Better news in Marietta. Crash just cleared 75 southbound, South Marietta Parkway, exit 263. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Cloudy skies with scattered rain showers and a few rumbles of thunder today. High 81.
More news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. 95.5 WSB.
Hello there. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. There's an all-hands-on-deck meeting at the Pentagon. They're bringing all the generals and admirals home. I have no idea. In fact, Kobe and I were in here talking about this news report that it's unprecedented. This is from the Washington Post. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered hundreds of the U.S. military's generals and admirals to gather on short notice and without a stated reason at a Marine Corps base in Virginia next week, sowing confusion and alarm after the Trump administration's firings of numerous senior leaders this year. The highly unusual directive was sent to virtually all of the military's top commanders worldwide, according to more than a dozen people familiar with the matter. It was issued earlier this week against the backdrop of a potential government shutdown, and as Hegseth's overtly political moves have deepened a sense of distress among his opponents, who fear he is erasing the Department of Defense's status as a nonpartisan institution. First of all, the Department of Defense is not a nonpartisan institution. It is progressive liberal pablum that the Department of Justice and the Department of Defense are somehow independent, nonpartisan entities. They're located within the executive branch of government inside the cabinet of the President of the United States, who can hire and fire at will. It's not and has never been a nonpartisan entity. Now, to be sure, the military personnel are nonpartisan. They serve at the pleasure of the president, but they're there to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States of America and the country, irrespective of partisanship. But at the civilian side, it's partisan, and the president gets to control the military. Notice what is happening here is that the press has gone completely hysterical about something. Now, my concern, if I'm actually honest about it, is having all those generals and admirals in one location within a week of uncovering that plot in New York City of the telecom potential cyber terror attack. I don't know that we need to get them all in the same room at one time near Washington, D.C. But that as well is a judgment call by the Secretary of Defense, who's decided he wants it. And the media has chosen to run hysterics. This is the New York Times. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has summoned scores of generals and admirals from around the world to meet on short notice next week at a Marine Corps base in Virginia, but has not disclosed the reason. The unusual directive, which has been filtering its way through military commands, and the undisclosed rationale has stirred anxiety at a time Hegseth has fired several senior officials. The 4 U.S. officials who spoke on conditions of anonymity confirmed the gathering was scheduled for next week. There are about 800 general-level officers in the armed forces, including 44 at the most senior 4-star level. It was not immediately clear how many of them would be ordered to the gathering. In May, Mr. Hegseth ordered a 20% reduction in 4-star officers, continuing the broad job reductions and firings that have marked the course of his tenure. That's the New York Times. This is Fox News. The Pentagon is convening a meeting of top generals. Multiple War Department officials confirmed to Fox News top military commanders have been asked to fly to Virginia. The topic remains unclear. The Pentagon confirmed the meeting. By the way, I'm not calling it it's interesting. Fox News is so quickly moving to the new speak of the GOP that it's the War Department. Congress hasn't changed the name. It takes an act of Congress to change the name. I'm calling it the Defense Department. That has nothing to do with anything other than it is officially the Defense Department. Congress itself chose that name, and just because there's an executive order on it, I'm sorry, I'm not changing the name until Congress says it's now the War Department. CBS News says the Defense Secretary has directed numerous generals and admirals, as well as some of their staff from around the world, to come to Quantico. No other details. There are regularly scheduled meetings, but a meeting of this size in person is rare, if not unprecedented. Now, what's going on here? I'm reading you from all of these different outlets because it's important you understand that NBC News, the Washington Post, the New York Times, to its credit, CBS News did not go there. It's a very short report, but most of them are all lighting their hair on fire. This is madness. This is crazy. He can't do this. Yes, he can. It must be to fire all the generals. It must be to plot a coup. It must be to overthrow the government. It must be to undermine the military. It must be to install loyalists. Doesn't matter. He gets to do it. And this goes to my prior point on how the media is itself complicit with the Democrats in designing a permission structure for the left to turn violent, to manipulate the vulnerable and depraved to turn violent, and they dial every single story up to an 11 on a scale of 1 to 10. I have no idea why the Secretary of Defense is doing this. I don't know that it's a smart idea to bring 800 or however many of them there are to this place at Quantico. Given the situation around the world, it makes it an easy target for bad guys. But he thinks they're going to be fine. He wants them there. Who am I to second guess the Secretary of Defense? Who are they to second guess the Secretary of Defense? And time again, all they want to do is ramp up the rhetoric and the anxiety, and that's part of it too, is they're ramping up anxiety. It's not just rhetoric, it's anxiety. started this montage by Western Landsman earlier. I want to play this now in its entirety. These are the Democratic members of Congress who are comparing ICE to Gestapo. This is the full montage. And again, it's Western Landsman put this together.
Every single ICE agent who's engaged in this aggressive overreach, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, will of course be identified. This is not the 1930s.
Secret police who are masked, who are intimidating, who are scaring people. These Gestapo-like tactics.
This is Gestapo-like behavior.
Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets.
When you compare the old films of the Gestapo grabbing people off the streets of Poland, it does look like a Gestapo operation.
You posted on social media that, quote, ICE is acting like a terrorist force.
ICE agents, they are coming and kidnapping and disappearing people on the streets of the United States.
But this terror campaign of having masked people rolling up in vans, but we also have to talk about the agents themselves that are carrying this out. If you have any decency, quit now. Because just doing what you were told has been the justification for some of the worst horrors and crimes against humanity.
Masked agents of the state in unmarked vehicles are terrorizing communities. They are disappearing people.
One has to assume they're hiding something, or they're hiding misbehavior, because otherwise, why would they be wearing masks and denying their identities?
If everything is legitimate and proper, why are you wearing masks to hide your face?
Not look like America. We are going to require them to show their faces. If you're not doing anything wrong, you shouldn't have anything to hide.
Yeah. They're being gunned down. That's why they're hiding their faces. Those are Democrats. This is MSNBC.
ICE is looking more and more like an American Gestapo.
They're huddled around the elevator banks in masks without identifying information. What a terrifying, these are Gestapo tactics.
But it has created this year, as they've seen, the kind of fascist ICE Gestapo militias go round up Latino American citizens in places like LA.
ICE agents, masked ICE Gestapo agents, getting more funding than any other law enforcement agency in the history of the United States.
ICE running Gestapo-like around our country.
The Gestapo had the same function. It was there to draw a distinction between us and them. It was not federally, it was controlled by the leader. And we're seeing disturbing similarities between this force and the Gestapo.
We've got these masked thug cowards kidnapping innocent people and sending them off to be slaves or tortured in other countries.
Dressing like thugs and acting like thugs.
People still want to come here despite the crazy. They still want to come here because they know in this land, their voice is protected. Their rights are protected. And there won't be jackbooted thugs coming in wearing masks over their face to take them off the streets. Oh, wait. I'm sorry, Simone, that's happening.
Oh, it's happening.
That's happening right now.
Y'all. Jackbooted thugs, Gestapo. And again, Chris Murphy goes on television this morning and says, no, call them the Gestapo. That's not inspiring people to shoot them. Literally, this progressive activist in Dallas, who the left still insists is not a progressive activist, left behind to note how shooting ICE would maybe cause them to have fear. And all of this goes to the Pentagon and the meeting. The media itself is ramping up the anxiety. It's not just the Democrats. It's the media ramping up the anxiety. We know from outside in, this is not Republican data, this is Harvard, this is Yale, this is Johns Hopkins. These are psychological studies and surveys of the American people post-COVID. It is progressives who have more mental health problems in this country right now than conservatives. And again, Harvard, Yale, Johns Hopkins, not me. That's not my opinion, it's their studies. Progressive women are the most fragile in the country. Progressive men are the second most. White ones, by the way, not black. Black progressives are actually in a better mental health state than white progressives. White progressives are coming unglued. And there is a small cohort, a subset of them, who are turning violent. Tyler Robinson assassinating Charlie Kirk. This kid yesterday shooting at ICE agents because he wanted to make them fear. And when you have the national media dial everything up, turn everything into some sort of anxiety-riddled frenzy that, oh my gosh, Secretary Hexas is bringing the military home. What are they going to? They're going to turn the military on the American people. They're going to round up America. They're going to arrest Congress unless somebody stops them. They're preying on the vulnerable and depraved. They want this violence. Too many people on the left want the violence. And the left needs to police itself. The Democrats need to police themselves, but they're not going to. That means that Donald Trump is going to have to. Going to have the DOJ. Going to have the FBI. They're going to need to investigate. There's a story out in the New York Times about a British billionaire who is funding progressive causes inside the United States. What progressive causes? What is Alex Soros funding through his Open Society? What are they funding? What is Arabella Partners funding? The dark money groups on the left, are they funding the people who put out the piles of bricks for the rioters? Are they funding the cell phone communication networks of these progressive activists? Are they trying to find vulnerable, anxious, young, partisan progressives and then target them to try to prime them for violence? What are they doing? They're not going to police themselves. The Atlantic is sounding the alarm on the left that violence is growing disproportionately on the left right now. There's a problem. And the Democrats are like, we're not going to have an election in 2028 unless we stop Donald Trump. We've got a Gestapo that needs to be stopped. They're rounding people up. Show us your faces so we can kill you is the implied threat. These people are not mentally well. And the result is this Reuters poll that came out yesterday that Republicans have a better handle on stopping political violence in the country. Republicans have a better handle on gun control in the country. Republicans have a better handle on stopping corruption in the country because the Democrats are becoming insane. I mean, they've always been mentally fragile. They are completely insane now and completely committed to the fact that this country is illegitimate. It goes back to the 1619 Project. They think the country was founded and steeped in racism. It's an illegitimate country, and the only way to stop the illegitimacy is for the left to have power. But the left does not have power right now, which gives the left a permission structure to cause violence and then an excuse structure from the rest of the media to say it's not really us doing it. They got what they deserved. How many people on the left have said on social media, Charlie Kirk got what he deserved? Why? Because he would not yield to them in the battle of ideas. He would not accept that they were right. And because he didn't accept they were right, he deserved to die, according to these progressives. And they're only becoming more unhinged. And Donald Trump has not even been in office for a year yet. We've got 3 more years and then some to go of this. How much more insane are the left going to get? Considering the number of them who decided to take Tylenol after Monday, I do think the president at this point needs to campaign around the country and tell all these progressives that breathing oxygen is good for them and see what happens. It may be the only way to stop this rash of violence in the country.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
150 Cool Day Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Still a rough ride on I-75 northbound between Marietta and Kennesaw due to the right lane construction up at Chastain Road, exit 271. Police activity still shutting down Highway 41, Cobb Parkway southbound at Circle 75 Parkway right there next to Truist Park. Luckily not causing big delays. Easy way to route around that. Traffic brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Save on fall favorites now through September 30th at Whole Foods Market, your headquarters for pumpkin spice delights, all the flavors of fall, and more. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Alabama is coming into Athens to battle the Bulldogs.
I'll tell you, it's been a great matchup.
Tune in Saturday as number 5 Georgia faces off with the 17th-ranked Crimson Tide.
Their quarterback is hot. He's hot as a firecracker.
Catch all the pregame coverage starting Saturday at 3:30.
They're playing really well this year.
Only on your home of the Dogs, 95.5 WSB. Brought to you in part by Hoffman Financial Group, official partner of the Georgia Bulldogs.
That nagging joint pain, you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes it's from years of hard work. Sometimes it's an old injury that just never healed right. Either way, it's been calling the shots in your life for too long. But that stops right now. I'm Mark Ehrman. QC Kinetics is here to flip that script. They use regenerative medicine, advanced cellular treatments that help your body heal and restore the damage in your joints, not cover it up, not cut it out, actually helping heal and restore. And the results, long-term, lasting relief. QC Kinetics, no surgery, no drugs, no long recovery, just a smarter, natural way to get your freedom back. Bring your MRIs, your X-rays, and they'll make sure you're a good candidate. Your first consultation, it's free, friends, so there's no reason to wait. Call QC Kinetics, 770-285-8026. That's 770-285-8026. Decatur, Lawrenceville, Sandy Springs, Marietta, Stockbridge, and Douglasville. Appointments available on Saturday. 770-285-8026.
Join renowned astrophysicist Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson for This Just In, latest discoveries in the universe, at the Fox Theater Sunday, October 5th at 4 p.m. The title says it all. Join Neil deGrasse Tyson as he explores discoveries from the past 2 or 3 years of cosmic research, with topics handpicked for their impact on science and the public's fascination with this ever-moving frontier. Don't miss This Just In, latest discoveries in the universe, with Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, Sunday, October 5th. Tickets available at foxtheater.org.
Contractors and builders know Randall Brothers is Atlanta's premier building material supplier. Dave Baker here. Randall Brothers has a wider variety of building products than their competitors, so you can find the specialty stock you need fast. And their experienced reps actually know the job and the product, so you can bounce ideas with a dependable, knowledgeable partner. Randall Brothers, widest selection, industry expertise, accurate, no-hassle deliveries. RandallBrothers.com.
Men. Trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Taking the complicated and making it simple. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
So, can we just? I gotta tell y'all something I'm dealing with. Yeah, it kind of makes me chuckle, but also roll my eyes. So, on this program yesterday, I told y'all that my son had texted me from school during one of his breaks. They're not allowed to have their phones except during break. And he texted me that the boys in the class had now begun referring to each other as Tylenol Americans. And it started because I showed him an Instagram reel. I guess it was technically my fault. I showed him an Instagram reel where someone said, instead of calling people autistic, call them Tylenol Americans. He thought it was very funny. He sent it to his class group chat, and by Wednesday, the boys are all calling themselves Tylenol Americans. One of the kids got an answer wrong in class that he should have been very obvious, and he apologized to the teacher and said, "I'm sorry, I took Tylenol this morning," and everybody laughed. It's just ever since the press conference on Monday about Tylenol, it has become a joke. And instead of calling each other the R word, which high school boys are prone to do, or calling each other autistic, they're now calling each other Tylenol Americans and making jokes about it. And I noted on Twitter, I thought it was very funny that these 10th and 11th grade boys are calling each other Tylenol Americans. And of course, progressive white woman who works for the New York Times, "You're going to have to let me in on the joke. I don't find this funny. Making autistic people the butt of your jokes." They're not making autistic people the butt of the jokes, making the stupid press conference about Tylenol the butt of the joke. Had some other progressive, "Thanks to you and Donald Trump, my son's going to be the butt of jokes with his autism." No, your son's the butt of jokes because you're his mother, you progressive, terrible person. But, I mean, you just can't laugh with progressives. It's like I was saying in the first hour. You get a kid with the women and gender studies degree out of college and you tell them a joke. If they laugh, they become a barista. If they don't, they become a head of HR. That's not funny. Yes, it's very funny. And then the other thing is this wild idea now that we have to have the same sense of humor, that we're only allowed to laugh about the things the least funny people want to laugh about. I find things fantastically funny that other people don't find funny. I have a demented sense of humor, and my children do as well. I will note my son stopped telling, jokes about the Nazis and the Holocaust after watching Schindler's List. Probably a good thing. That's going to get him in trouble later in life. But the fact that you can't laugh at a group of high school boys who've suddenly started calling each other Tylenol Americans, I'm sorry, that's funny. If you can't figure out why, that's your problem, not mine. Now, I got to tell you about Hillsdale College, because you can go to Hillsdale College and take one of 40 different classes for free. Been a while since I've been there. ERICK for Hillsdale, HILLSDALE.com, ericforhillsdale.com. Start for free today, it says. Their recommended class, the one on capitalism, by the way, it actually is really good. So it's 7 30-minute videos you watch at your own pace. It talks about how capitalism rewards people with profit and punishes them with loss, depending on the merit of their actions, and how it expresses freedom and rationality of human nature and economic systems, how it involves arm's length transactions, promotes private property, the protection of private property. Really good. The great one on the Federalist Papers. They've got a new one on Aristotle's Ethics. That's 10 lessons. They're all, again, 30-minute videos. In the Aristotle one, it's 10. In the Federalist Papers, it's 10. It's 7 in the capitalism one. They're free at no charge. ericforhillsdale.com. Go sign up with Hillsdale College today.
The news of the day through the eyes of Eric Von Hessler.
This might help, young man. This might cure what ails you.
If it's on your mind, it's on his.
I run a stupid little radio show. I don't care. Have fun.
Eric Von Hessler, today at 3.
Your friend, Eric Von Hessler, the common sense host.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
This is Jonathan Geller at D. Geller & Son Jewelers, where we're hosting an adoption drive for dog and diamond lovers. Join D. Geller & Son this Saturday from noon to 3 in our Kennesaw and Sandy Springs showrooms for a dog adoption drive. Find your new best friend, and D. Geller & Son will cover in-home training. Buy one of our diamond dog bond necklaces, and 100% of the proceeds go to Fur Kids Animal Rescue. That's this Saturday from noon to 3 at D. Geller & Son Jewelers in Kennesaw and Sandy Springs.
It's the hardest working part of your home, your garage door. When it fails, you need someone you can trust. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage, Entry Doors, and Windows. When the largest and most important opening of your home breaks, don't hire a schmo. Call the local name you know, All Four Seasons. Ask your neighbors. We offer upfront pricing, free estimates on all major brands, and 24/7 service. When trust matters, trust us. All the number 4 Seasons Garages.com.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. It is breaking news this hour in Cobb County. A heavy police presence on Cobb Parkway near the Battery. WSB's Jonathan O'Brien reports live. The GBI confirms it's been requested by the Georgia State Patrol to assist with a death investigation.
That's right, Bill, and a black police partition surrounds this car on Cobb Parkway, where investigators from the GBI are taking photos and collecting evidence from the scene here. While authorities aren't saying much other than the fact that they were called in to assist in this death investigation, witnesses are speaking, and one man told me that he was on his way to lunch when he felt a car hit his truck from behind. As that car tried to squeeze between traffic, then shots were fired. He says it felt like a movie. He ducked down and prayed while the bullets were flying. Thankfully, no one else on scene was hurt. He himself is thankful that he wasn't hurt. Bill, this investigation remains active, and we are working to learn more from police, and we'll bring it to you when we have it. Reporting live in Cobb County, Jonathan O'Brien, 95.5 WSB.
81 degrees in Atlanta. Scattered rain showers around today and tomorrow. Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. Cobb police arrest a third person in connection with the shooting death of a 9-month-old girl at a motel near Truist Park. Javion Young is charged with murder, possession of a firearm during a felony, and aggravated assault. Ladarius Brown was previously arrested on the same charges. A third suspect is charged with tampering with evidence. Gwinnett police need your help finding a man wanted in connection with a fraud investigation.
The accused here, Anthony Sherlock, he met with a victim he found on Facebook Marketplace in order to purchase a vehicle.
Corporal Juan Matiedo with Gwinnett Police says the suspect paid with a fraudulent check. The victim is out $13,000. Police say there are at least 4 other similar cases in Gwinnett County involving Sherlock. We posted his photo at WSBradio.com. Anyone with information should contact Crime Stoppers. The FBI believes the suspect in yesterday's shooting at an ICE facility in Texas carefully planned out the attack.
The Department of Homeland Security has really publicly framed the shooting as a targeted, ideologically driven attack on law enforcement that was motivated by a hatred for ICE. And the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security has really urged politicians, people nationwide, to tone down their rhetoric about immigration enforcement officials.
CBS's Nicole Skanga reports shell casings found at the scene included anti-ICE messaging. It is now 2:02. This news sponsored by Brett Beckers. Up next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
If your basement has any issues like condensation, wet floors and walls, or musty smells, that can be a sign that your home might be due for waterproofing. AquaGuard Foundation Solutions can help. Just visit aquaguard.net and set up a free inspection. Remember, AquaGuard.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. I am quite aware of the dangers being on the road. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. These families' lives will be changed in an instant. We fight for these families as if they were our own. We've become America's largest injury law firm by winning cases just like these. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Injured? Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
At Shane Company, we've been engagement ring experts for almost 100 years. We have the largest selection of diamonds and gemstones in stock. You don't have to wait to compare them side by side. Find the one that speaks to you at shaneco.com or in store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Attention men, does ED and PE have you down? Well, great news. Choice Men's Health has the latest breakthrough treatments that can get you up and running. Meet the specialist who is dedicated to helping you perform better than ever in the bedroom.
Hi, I'm Dr. Katz, Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Our custom treatment plans have a 98% success rate at improving ED and PE on your very first visit, even if Viagra and Cialis have failed. Regardless of your age and medical history, we are here and dedicated to help you regain your love life.
Don't wait. Call Choice Men's Health now. We are so confident we can help. For a limited time, we're offering to cover your first treatment for free. Call 404-400-1170. Call now to claim your free treatment. 404-400-1170. Results guaranteed on your first visit or it's free. 404-400-1170. Choice Men's Health, the only choice for your health.
Skip the hassles of a traditional home sale and sell your home quickly with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. There's no showings, no open houses, and no stress. Hi, this is Mark Spain, and our guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. With the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, you can bypass the market, receive the strongest all-cash offer in the industry, and close in as little as 21 days. Our guaranteed offer keeps you in control. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com and start packing.
It's 2:05, time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the traffic center.
Jammed up into downtown, Bill. We got Hero with trouble in the right center lane, 75-85 southbound, just below William Street, and that has jammed up the ride back to the 85 at Georgia 400 merge. And construction continues, 75 northbound in Kennesaw, right lane blocked up at Chastain Road. And you've had left lane construction in Holly Springs, 575 northbound, just north of 6's Road, exit 11. Alex Williams, 95.5 WUSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Cloudy skies today with scattered rain showers and a few thunderstorms, high 81. Scattered rain showers continue for tonight, lows in the upper 60s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, rain and thunderstorms moving through, high 79. Drying out on Saturday with highs in the low 80s.
Right now, 82 in Fayetteville, 83 in Tucker, 80 in Cartersville. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
It's the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. This hour's keyword is Bucks. B-U-C-K-S.
to the WSB Radio app or WSBRadio.com/cash for your chance to win. Again, that keyword is Bucks. Join me live at 3 for the Von Hessler Doctrine, and I'll have your next keyword and chance to win at 5 p.m.
Oh, that was a bad idea. I'm out of breath. It's Eric Erickson here. I decided I needed a cup of coffee, but the fancy machine that grinds the beans is upstairs. I had 6 minutes. It froze on me midway through making the coffee, and I was stuck. I'm back. I made it in time. I'm a professional. I ran. Nobody around here has seen a fat white boy like that run since, I don't know, the Civil War running through Atlanta. I don't know. Good Lord. Wow. The thing literally like froze on me. I was like, what's going on here? I don't know. So thankfully, Karen from Dayton, Ohio is calling. And I'm going to let Karen talk for a second while I catch my breath because, I mean, you guys, you don't pay me enough for the heavy breathing you're about to get if I don't talk to Karen and catch my breath. Karen, welcome to the Eric Erickson Show. How are you?
Well, that's okay. I'm drinking coffee right now.
I
So
needed it
I'll save
today.
you a cup. If you'd like me to save you a cup, I'm drinking coffee right this minute.
God bless you. I don't know why I cannot wake up today. It's like, I got to have one more cup of coffee today.
Well, before I ask you what I want to ask you, I think it's funny because if I'd have thought of that Tylenol, I forgot something very important this morning. And if I would have thought, I could have told that person I took Tylenol before I forgot what I was supposed to be doing.
Yes. Yeah, I'm glad you could. I cannot believe the people who, they just can't laugh at, I mean, the humor of high school boys.
Oh, well, or people.
Yes.
People don't have humor anymore.
That's
I mean,
the truth.
it's pathetic. But I almost quit listening to you. I'm going off on a tangent here.
That's all right.
Because I get so upset. I hear so much new news, and then I get upset, and I think, oh, my gosh. But while I was literally going to ask you about it, I'm kind of changing only because you brought up autism.
Okay.
And my niece got pregnant through intro, whatever they call it. I don't know because I'm not up on all that. One of her kids has autism.
Mm-hmm.
Another family member close to me, she did not take Tylenol. She got pregnant naturally, and her twins have a form of autism. So when I heard Tylenol's causing all this problem, I thought, well, maybe I'll check it out, but I don't know. I'm just kind of leery of, Tylenol is causing this whole problem.
Well, you know, so I don't like to take Tylenol, or acetaminophen is the active ingredient, because I actually have known in my lifetime 2 different people who died because they overdosed accidentally on Tylenol. And it is a gruesome, horrible way to die. As your liver shuts down, there's no way to heal the situation, and you die because if you take too much acetaminophen, it causes permanent liver damage and can kill you. And I've known 2 different people who were ill, who took Tylenol and then other medicine, not knowing the other medicine had acetaminophen in it, and overdosed. And so I've been leery of it for a very long time. But you know, there is some research out there that suggests there are problems with Tylenol, but it's a multi-phase problem. It's not the Tylenol itself. There are other things as well. But also, you know, like in my wife's situation, when she was pregnant with our second child, my wife has something called Factor V Light, and it's a blood clot disorder. And she had to take every single day subcutaneous injections of blood thinner and was bruised the entire, I mean, she was black and blue head to toe. 9 months in. I mean, we just got the gallows humor where we would just joke, yeah, I hit her again today. She didn't make me breakfast and stuff like that. I mean, we were just at that point just joking about how bruised she was all the time. And acetaminophen was the only pain reliever she could take for anything because ibuprofen, of course, also thins your blood. And our son does not have autism. He has ADHD. Maybe that's related because they say it's one or the other you get with Tylenol. But he's perfectly fine and normal. And I just think there are a lot of moms who they may second guess getting pregnant again if you tell them you can't take Tylenol when that's been the most common pain reliever to give a pregnant woman. And it's so much more complicated. And the largest study ever conducted, 2.5 million kids studied, shows there's actually no correlation or causation between Tylenol and autism. So I think they wanted to try to rush something out. They mean well. God bless them for trying to find what's causing autism, but I think they kind of jumped the gun.
Right, right. Well, my son-in-law, of course, years ago, and no one knows 100%, but he went back to all the shots, especially newborn. And of course, that didn't come out, and no one knows if that has any correlation with autism. But that's what he, has said for a long time. He said, I'm wondering if it's not these newborns, and then through the years, they've added more shots, and he's totally against not the rubella and the measles and mumps and what we've got for years, and they've proven okay. But all the new things that's come on the market that we're giving these children, he's totally against.
Well, okay, so I'm glad you said that because, Karen, take the Hep B vaccine, hepatitis B vaccine. They say give it to newborns, but why? If your mother doesn't have sexually transmitted disease or hepatitis sexually transmitted, there's no need to give a newborn a Hep B vaccine when it's going to wear off within a couple of years before they're toddler, and that's when they probably do need it before they get exposed to other people. Some of them they don't make any sense to me, and I'm not a vaccine skeptic. I'm fully on board getting vaccines, but some of them it just seems like we're being overly cautious. By giving some of these vaccines, it makes no sense. We were hesitant giving my daughter the HPV vaccine, and our argument was, well, if she doesn't engage in risky sexual behavior, she doesn't have to worry about HPV and the things that come with it. But then also over time, our pediatrician was explaining that actually it's actually showing a real benefit in stopping cervical cancer, which runs in my wife's side of the family, among other things. And we're like, all right, we'll give her the HPV vaccine. And now it turns out that in Great Britain and in Australia, cervical cancer doesn't exist anymore as a cancer because of the HPV vaccine. So I've had skepticism that I've overcome with some of these vaccines, and the HPV one has wiped out cervical cancer in multiple countries. But yeah, I just, the alarmism on both sides, it bothers me. I do wish them well in trying to find a cause of autism. I have friends who have autistic kids who are completely disabled. I have friends who are autistic who are at a very high level, autistic, very, very smart people. But even they're like, it's clearly there's something wrong. We need a cure. I don't know that Tylenol is it.
Right. And it's come about sooner than later because going back, it was 1 in how many thousand or whatever, and now it's 1 in 30. I mean,
it's like 1 in 34.
It's like an epidemic.
Well, but as well, a lot of doctors say the reason it's now like 1 in 34 is because they've so broadened the spectrum of what classifies as autism that 20 or 30 years ago, you'd have this high-performing person who you knew was quirky, but we wouldn't say they have autism. Autism was something we related to the people with the nonverbal communicative skills, couldn't make eye contact, and now we're like, well, that's autism too. It's just a different kind. So we have broadened the discovery of it. But, there's actually a lot of researchers now who say you could probably go back in time and find some of these like Mozart and say he might have been autistic. He certainly had terrible social skills and was a genius at an early age. Maybe he was autistic. And we have more awareness now about these things. It's kind of like the wars and rumors of wars. We just hear so much about it these days.
Right, that's true. Well, I'm not quirky, but they call me Chatty Cathy. So, I mean, I don't know. It don't matter.
Well, listen.
I try and keep my mouth shut, but there's only one quick thing, and you don't have to elaborate much. I'll just put in.
All right.
If I get too upset, I've been calling Democrat senators, congressmen. Of course, it's staffers that listen to you. It probably never gets passed on to who it should, but I always end up with this thing to them saying, you know what? It doesn't matter what you do, what transpires, go to Revelations, and there's nothing we can really do to stop it totally because the Lord is coming back. He's going to take care of everything, and it's going to tell you from the beginning to the middle part and the end and how it's going to end.
Amen.
So that's what I always do when I call them and tell them what. And I never get nasty, but I do say what's on my mind, but that's the last thing I say is go to Revelations, whether you're religious or not. I'm sure you're smart enough you can read.
Yeah.
So read Revelations,
well,
and it
listen,
will tell exactly what's coming.
I appreciate your phone call a ton. You go enjoy your coffee. and I will enjoy mine during commercial break. And thank you for saving me. I've caught my breath in our conversation and enjoyed it tremendously. Now, when I get back up to, I was in Dayton last Friday, and I couldn't tell any of you I was going because it was actually an event that I had to be at over in Columbus. It wasn't in Dayton, but got to go into Dayton, and I have not gotten to go to Young's Dairy. And I have talked about it. When we were discussing the Haitians, and I realized that Dave Chappelle lives near Dayton, Ohio, and I just am a massive Dave Chappelle fan. I realize he is not for everyone. I recognize he's not for everyone. His humor is not for everyone, but I just think Dave Chappelle is one of the greatest storytellers to walk the planet ever. So I wanted to go and discovered Young's Dairy, and at some point I will come back to Dayton, but not during the winter. I don't want to be in Ohio during the wintertime. I don't even like to be in Georgia during the wintertime. But at some point when the weather is nice, I want to get back up there, and I want to go to Yellow Springs, and I want to go to Young's Dairy, and I want to go say hi to all my Haitian listeners over in Springfield. It'll be a great time. The phone number is 877-973-7425. I'm going to go on and step out. We'll do a little bit of a reset here since Karen helped me get this hour of the show started so I can catch my breath, have my sip of coffee that I spilled running down the hallway to get back here. When we come back, though, I don't want to needlessly inflame you guys. I don't like to do that. But I got to play you some audio of a North Carolina politician where the Democrats are trying to plot out their lines on crime. The North Carolina legislature has now, with a supermajority to be able to override any potential veto of the governor, passed what they're calling Irenaeus Law, which will end cashless bail in North Carolina and keep criminals behind bars. And the defense from progressive politicians is that letting the man out of prison who killed Irina, the Ukrainian immigrant, it wouldn't have mattered. How can they say this? I don't know. I've got the audio, and there's a warning sign for Democrats in the audio when we come back.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
218 Coolray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Better news downtown, the connector, 7585 southbound at William Street. They got that earlier trouble from the right center lane to the right shoulder, but still slow from the 85-400 merge. Ongoing road work in Kennesaw, right lane block, 75 northbound, Chastain Road, exit number 271, keeping you on the brakes out of Marietta. Traffic brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Save on organic best of season produce at Whole Foods Market. Get organic Honeycrisp apples for $3.49 per pound with Prime through September 30th while supplies last. Shop in store or online. Terms apply. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It's the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. This hour's keyword is Bucks. B-U-C-K-S. Go to the WSB Radio app or WSBRadio.com/cash for your chance to win. Again, that keyword is Bucks. Join me live at 3 for the Von Haessler Doctrine, and I'll have your next keyword and chance to win at 5 p.m.
This is Scott Slade, and nothing takes the place of time when it comes to spotting problems with your health, especially cancer. The earlier, the better. That's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging's LDCT body scan can be invaluable, giving you more time for you and your loved ones to take charge of your health. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. Due to overwhelming demand for a limited time, their $995 core body scan offer has been extended. It's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual imaging has gotten such great response to this offer that they've opened up more times in both offices, but appointments will fill up fast, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your virtual imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
Just like your car, your septic system needs regular maintenance. Hi, I'm Shannon, the owner of Scorpion Septic. If you're seeing bubbles in your toilet, pooling in your yard, slow draining, or your toilet won't flush, you need Scorpion Septic.
Take the sting out of septic service with Scorpion Septic, where there is never a pump out charge with your repair. Call for more information. ScorpionSepticServices.com.
ScorpionSepticServices.com. I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, every week on the show, we offer folks something we call the Portfolio X-Ray. I was hoping you could walk us through that process and tell us why the information it uncovers is so powerful.
Yeah, so the reason we love doing the Portfolio X-Ray for you is we do that behind the scenes. Everybody's extremely busy. Nobody wants to waste time in traffic. If you call in, we will ask you for some information via the phone. Once you've given us that information, we go to work and we put all the hours in developing the report. And I commit this to you. The Portfolio X-Ray is eye-opening. At least 90+% of the time, we can find 2 or 3 golden nuggets in there that you were not aware of that we can either change in your current portfolio mix for you. It's called a 401k optimizer. Or if we manage the assets for you, we certainly can recommend how to diversify away from some of the troubling points that are exposed during the Portfolio X-ray. Once we've got that, then we'll have you in for your initial consultation. We will present the Portfolio X-ray to you and walk you through the high points of it. And that's a document that you get to take with you. It's like getting a financial physical. So how many of you avoided going to the doctor for the annual physical last year? You do the same thing with your financial life. You ignore it. You keep pumping money into your 401k. You hope that it's going well, and I can tell you that hope is not a good investment or financial planning strategy. You need to know. So if you want to know, call us.
The Portfolio X-Ray is complimentary. Give Hoffman Financial Group a call to schedule yours today. 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
Better prices, better views, window comfort, meant just for you. Window Comfort.
Window Comfort's exclusive window line is built for Georgia's extreme heat and guaranteed to lower your energy bills. Right now, get buy 2, get 2 free with no payments till 2026. Schedule your no-pressure estimate today at windowcomfort.com.
Better prices, better views, window comfort, meant just for you. Window Comfort.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Hello there. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number, 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I got to play this. This is Representative Marcy Morey. And I want you to hear this. She's a Democrat. Listen to this.
But don't correlate what happened in January and a magistrate who set a bail according to guidelines to what happened in August. There is no correlation.
That is Marcy Morey. She is a state representative from Durham, North Carolina, in the North Carolina legislature. Don't say what happened in January had anything to do with August. What happened in January? The murderer was let out of jail without any bail, no cash bail, let out by a magistrate using state guidelines or the local guidelines. What were those guidelines? No cash bail. So don't connect the one with the other, is her argument. Why not? Had he been left in jail because he had a distinctive, long, violent record, so he could have been left in jail, and the magistrate chose to let him go. And that poor young lady Irina Zarutska was murdered on that bus, or not the bus, light rail in Charlotte. And now the state legislature has prohibited cashless bail. And the Democrats are like, well, yeah, okay, so he was let out of jail without bail. He was just let out in January, and he killed her in August. So there was just such a big time span between. You can't really say he would have stayed in jail the whole time. And Republicans like, yeah, he would have, given the nature of the charges, he would have stayed in jail. Democrats don't have a good answer on crime right now. They don't have a good answer on political violence. They don't have a good answer on crime. They don't have a good answer on immigration. In fact, the true story, there's a Democratic think tank now that is urging Democrats to be truthful on immigration. And their suggestion is to blame the Biden administration and say it's not us, it was them. Think about that. Blaming the Democrats. It's too high. We let too many people in, but it was Joe Biden's fault, and we did nothing to stop him. That's where they're headed right now. And listen, it's a smart play for the Democrats on immigration now to move on and suddenly get tough on the border, except, they don't really mean it because they were defending it. They're still attacking ICE for rounding up illegal aliens. And I got to think they got to come up with a better answer. And the same on crime. They're siding with too many criminals. And that's just the truth. The Democrats are siding with criminals. When you argue that this guy, he was let out in January. He could have been kept in jail, but then he murdered her in August. It's just such a big distance between the two that you can't really say they're connected. No, you actually can. Here's a hint for my Democratic friends who are listening right now is be a little more compassionate to the victims of the crime instead of to the treatment of the criminals who committed the crime, and you might begin to restore some credibility with the public. Now, the government's got to destroy or restore its credibility with you when it comes to our monetary system. Right now, they're engaged in the secret war on cash. Swiss America has been the trusted leader in precious metals for 40 years, and they've been warning people about a secret war on cash for some time. If you're interested in safeguarding your hard-earned cash from what the government is doing, you need their free report. They're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. They can educate you on protecting your assets. The report takes less than 15 minutes to read. It can save on your retirement and finances. You can get a completely free copy by calling or texting 800-289-2646. The all-out war on cash, it's growing. It includes digital forms of currency. So get and read The Secret War on Cash free. All you do is mention Eric, E-R-I-C-K, when you call or text 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. The report's completely free. You can also go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric, SwissAmerica.com/ERICK, or call or text 800-289-2646. Message and data rates may apply.
WSB's looking for a home for Buddy. Chris Chandler here from Atlanta's Morning News, and Buddy's our dog of the month with Paws Atlanta. About a year-old, 40-pound mix, great starter dog for a family. Meet him at WSBRadio.com/dog. Our sponsor, Finley Roofing, will pay the adoption fees for you. WSBRadio.com/dog.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. New information on a death investigation on Cobb Parkway near the Battery. The Georgia State Patrol says they were attempting a traffic stop for a window tint violation. When the driver took off, a trooper was able to block the fleeing vehicle. They found the driver dead from what appears to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The GBI is assisting the State Patrol in this investigation. The Federal Trade Commission levels the largest fine in its history against a major tech company.
The FTC says Amazon tricked customers into signing up for Prime subscriptions and made it overly difficult for them to cancel those memberships. The company is now settling the case, which began earlier this week. They'll have to pay $2.5 billion in fines.
Mike Dobusky reports this includes $1.5 billion in refunds. The Department of Homeland Security says it's tightening security at ICE facilities across the country following yesterday's shooting at a field office in Dallas. One detainee was killed. Investigators believe the suspected shooter was targeting law enforcement. FBI Director Kash Patel posted a picture on social media of shell casings engraved with the phrase anti-ICE found at the scene. 2 other people were injured in the attack. Some good news for Metro Atlanta's job market. The State Department of Labor says the region's unemployment rate is steady at 3.5%. It was 3.9% a year ago. Jobs are up slightly in the metro, with local government showing the biggest gains from July. Jobs are down in the arts, entertainment, and recreation sector. It is now 2:31, and this news is sponsored by FGA Roofing. Up next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
You worked hard for your 401k, but if you've left your job, your money might be sitting in the wrong hands. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and it's very possible that the 401k that you have had for years has hidden fees and limited investment choices. But if you're no longer with the company, that 401k may be at the mercy of your former employer. All of these things could be costing you thousands. Rolling over your 401k into an IRA can provide better investment options that align with your long-term goals. At Trajan Wealth, we're fiduciary advisors that are held to a higher standard with no hidden agenda and no hidden fees. Don't let your retirement dollars sit in an old plan, and don't roll it over to your new plan without consulting Trajan Wealth first. Call 404-390-4000. That's 404-390-4000.
Advisory services are offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Hi, I'm Dustin, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. I know finding a dream engagement ring can be overwhelming, but don't worry, we got you. As director of diamond sourcing, it's my job to make sure every single diamond at Shane Company is truly the best of the best. Our team travels the world to see diamonds up close, in person. We handpick each one for its unique fire, brilliance, and scintillation. Diamond buying is an art. Of course, we look at cut, color, clarity, and carat, known as the 4 C's, but that's not all. We also look at how each diamond looks on a hand, where it will be worn, how it makes you feel, and if it's worthy of a Shane Company customer. That type of expertise only comes from working for a company that's been a family business since 1929. We also think about your budget. We only pick the best in each grade in all shapes and sizes. Your diamond is guaranteed to be the most beautiful because a friend wants you to pick from only the best. Drop by your store or shaneco.com and see for yourself. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Hey homeowners, it's Eric Erickson here. Do your windows and doors stick? Are you noticing cracks in the drywall or the brickwork? You might have a big problem. Serious issues need the serious experts at Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Their skills are unmatched, as are their foundation solutions. When these guys repair a problem, it's the last time you'll have to worry about it. Done once, done right. Start today with a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
It's 2:34. Time for live team coverage of traffic and weather in the 24-hour traffic center. Alex Williams.
The rough ride continues this afternoon into Kennesaw, Bill, on I-75 northbound. They still had that right lane construction out there near Chastain Road, exit 271. Thankfully, the express lanes are pointed northbound now if you have a Peach Pass. Downtown, we're already slow, starting southbound from the 85-400 merge, getting down into the Cortlandt Street area due to earlier trouble that has since cleared. And 75-85 northbound, also starting to see the afternoon volume fill in University Avenue up to Freedom Parkway. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Cloudy skies with scattered rain showers and a few rumbles of thunder today. High 81.
82 in Lawrenceville, 86 in Hampton, 81 in Powder Springs. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
Tackling politics and culture with clarity.
Greetings, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, more than welcome to. I want to go to one of my favorite places on planet Earth. Ruth is calling from Amelia Island, Florida. Welcome, Ruth. How are you?
Hello. Can you okay?
Yes, I can. Thanks for calling.
Yes, hello. I love your show.
Thank you.
but my thoughts are all over the place. I came to America when I was 4 years old from Haiti. My family, my mom moved all 7 of her legally, and I mean, it was a long process. She made tennis balls in Haiti. She made clothes. She loved sewing. So she worked very hard, and it took a long time to save up to get all 7 of her children here, and my father as well. So I'm really big on doing it the right way. We came here when I was 4. I'm 40 years old now. So over 30 years ago, and I had my green card and then sworn in and became a citizen. So I am very appreciative to this country. I love this country. And another thing on my mind is, I'm one of those people that say, do it the right way. You can't cut in line. I have people that, stare down at me and say, how can you say that when, how do you not feel for people like yourself? And I do, but I just feel like you can't have open borders. It's just not safe.
Amen.
And everything should be done the right way. And I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus. Another thing on my mind is my son is on the spectrum. He's profound. He has profound autism. He's 9 years old. And so I was working full time. I have my master's degree. I had to quit my career job that I've worked hard to get. And his constant therapy, it was a lot. It still is. He has ABA therapy, he has speech, he has all kinds of therapy. And it's time consuming, but it's good. It's for him. So he's been in therapy since he was 16 months when we were suspicious that something was off. He was our first child, so it took a little time to realize what was happening. But every day we're learning something new about him, and it's not easy. He doesn't understand risks. He's running into the street without looking both ways. He doesn't understand cars can hurt him. He's nonverbal. So we're constantly walking on eggshells, to be honest. Our doors are locked inside and out. We have to always be vigilant. We had to put him in swim lessons for 3 years in a row because he loves the water. So everything we can to keep him safe. When we were buying our first home, we had to make sure there were no retention ponds around, because I was hearing on the news it was at least once a week of, sadly, a child dying in water, and it just broke our heart, and we wanted to make sure that, it wouldn't be our son. And we were also a little, because one is a lot on, special needs. So we had our daughter 3 years later, and she's been another blessing, and she's really, really patient and understanding at 6 years old and helps us a lot. And she's had to mature a lot. But we're thankful to God that we had a second child. But that's another thing. I know a lot of people are laughing at Tylenol, and it is funny. I don't believe that is Tylenol at all. Even now, I don't take medicine when I'm sick. I'm just one of these type that would rather just let my body heal itself for a little bit.
Oh, you're like my wife. Yeah. Christy, you're falling over. You needed to go to, no. I'll walk it off. Yeah, I know you're kind.
Yeah, that's me. So I never took any Tylenol at all when I was pregnant. So I know that's not what caused his autism. I'm one of these people that believe it may be what my friends call me crazy. It could be, vaccines. So for our second child, we spaced hers out. She doesn't have autism, but I always say I don't know what the cause is. God gave me him. God made us his parents, and we're thankful for that. God, trusted that we could take care of him. It's not to say it's not easy. And some days I said, God, I don't know how you trust me.
So, Ruth, let me interrupt you here, because there's a number of progressive activists on Twitter and on Instagram and Facebook after this thing on Monday, this press conference, put up signs saying autism is a superpower. It doesn't need to be cured. And I know I've got friends who have really severely autistic kids. I'm like, not a single one of them would agree with that.
No, I don't like that. I really don't. When they think of autism, they're thinking, level 1. I hate putting levels, but that's, the ones they consider genius. My son, he has his own, he's very capable. He's very good at drawing. He loves to draw. He communicates in his own way. His, his way of communication is singing. He can sing perfectly. You can hear every word he's saying, but when it comes to functional communication, you're not. If you say how are you, he's not going to say I'm doing well. It's not going to happen right now. So that's why he's still like right now. I'm driving home to get to therapy. He's constantly in there. That's another thing too. I think they should do something for people with families on the spectrum because there is a financial loss. We're constantly putting money toward him as every parent, but we had to put things in the home to make him happy. An indoor swing because he has very high sensory needs, and it's always something. So with my husband being the only one working full time, I had to cut my pay down significantly, and we moved to Florida from Connecticut because we just wanted a fresh start so my family wouldn't feel like they had to.
I got to tell you, you picked an incredible place. We've got some dear friends who live down there, and I love it. I got to let you go there, but listen, I want to say this to everybody who listens. Ruth's story is why I'm aggravated with the Tylenol thing. I understand that there have been a number of studies that have come out and have said there may be a correlation. The correlation is not causation. And we forget that. But also, I have gone in and I pulled those studies. There's a Harvard one, there's the Boston Medical one, there's the Johns Hopkins one, and there's small groups of people, almost all of them less than 1,000. And they say there could be. But there have been larger studies done that compare families that have multiple kids, one or two of whom may have autism, and what are the familiar ties that bind, and those show Tylenol is not it. Now, could it be that Tylenol is one of multiple factors? Yes, absolutely. Here's the problem, and this gets to a Wall Street Journal article that came out this afternoon, that the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert Kennedy's staff, is frustrated because they believe they have found a medicine that can help particularly kids that are autistic with nonverbal issues and communication issues. And it turns out, of all the medicines on planet Earth that it could possibly be, it's one that deals with the side effects of chemotherapy. Leucovorin. Now, my wife has cancer, but she takes a small pill every day. She hasn't had standard chemotherapy, but I know people who have chemotherapy and they have all sorts of side effects, and leucovorin is a medicine they give to help mitigate those side effects. And there is a good bit of research that leucovorin given off-label to kids that have autism-related developmental disabilities, particularly communicative disabilities, that leucovorin has shown improvement to them. And we're overshadowing that they may actually have a medicine that can help by focusing on Tylenol that is widely in dispute, and the biggest studies done have shown no correlation between Tylenol and autism. The growing body of research out there seems to suggest that autism is much more complicated, and it involves genetics, environment, and other issues as well, that it's not vaccines. In fact, that's one of the other reasons, vaccines, it was one study that was amplified by a bunch of other people and then couldn't be replicated in any research and was disputed, but people want to believe that there is some way to spare themselves having a child with autism. And maybe there is, maybe there isn't. Maybe there is just pollution, what have you, so we're not going to get it. Also, we broadened it. It's like ADHD. So many more kids are diagnosed with ADHD today, not because there are more kids with ADHD. It's that we've expanded the research pool of what classifies as ADHD. My son is in that pool. My son, if we did this, and maybe we're bad parents for not doing this. I know people who file like, my kid's got a medical diagnosis, so you have to give him as long as he wants to do the SAT or the ACT, and we're not that sort of family. We're like, we're going to make him take the test with everybody else. We don't want to give him special treatment and let him think he deserves special treatment because of what? He can't keep focused on stuff for more than a little while unless he's sitting on a bouncy ball. I mean, that's how he studies. He sits on a big Swiss exercise ball, and he bounces and listens to Mozart, and he tunes the world out and does his homework. He's completely obsessed. I mean, we joke that our kid is autistic because he is obsessed with classical music. And he's got, what do they call it? Perfect pitch. I mean, he taught himself to play the piano. He's now taught himself to play the trombone. He's taught himself to play the cello. And we're like, maybe you're on the spectrum, but I guess we're all on the spectrum to some degree. But there are kids who really have serious developmental problems on autism, and we appear to have, through a bunch of research, found that this drug to treat the side effects of chemotherapy helps those kids in some way on the research. And Health and Human Services employees are deeply, deeply frustrated that the press conference went off on Tylenol and overshadowed this medicine that wasn't even used by name. This is from the Wall Street Journal. During the summer, some of Robert F. Kennedy's top lieutenants grew excited about the promise of leucovorin. The drug, chemically related to vitamin B9, was typically used to ward off side effects of chemotherapy, but early randomized controlled studies have shown that versions of the drug helped improve communication and behavioral symptoms in some autistic people, though some autism researchers have said those studies are too small to make sweeping recommendations about the drug. But there's hope out there. Now, I'm going to pivot from the one to a different disease, Huntington's disease. Have any of you ever known anyone with Huntington's disease? They don't live a long, good life. Huntington's disease is a progressive disease that seems to be almost presented as a combination of Parkinson's and Alzheimer's together. It is genetic and it is inherited. And I've known families where a father got it and then a son got it. And what is remarkable is that they have found a treatment for the first time in history. It's a gene therapy. And what they do is essentially administer a gene therapy directly into the brain over a period of 12 hours in a surgery setting. And it shows a 75% reduction in Huntington's disease, where someone who gets diagnosed in their late 30s may make it to 50. Someone who gets diagnosed in their late 30s could now make it to their 70s or 80s, living a long and productive life with such an infinitesimally slow decline. It's almost as if it's natural aging. It's incredible progress for a disease that otherwise has had no cure, and not even a cure, but not even a treatment protocol for it. Now there has been this incredible success. Incredible success. And that gives me hope beyond Huntington's disease to other neurological problems. And that is my frustration as well with the autism situation. Blaming Tylenol, one, there are probably a lot of mothers who are now wondering if they gave their child autism because they took Tylenol when they were sick during pregnant on the advice of their doctors, which is very common for doctors to advise women to take Tylenol in those situations. And how many women will think, now I can't? And you know, if you get a high fever when you're pregnant, Tylenol is what they recommend to bring down fever as opposed to aspirin or ibuprofen. And if you don't bring down fever, you could be causing neurological developmental problems for your child in utero. If your fever gets too high and you refuse to take the Tylenol because you're like, I'm afraid I'm going to give my kid autism. I know, listen, y'all know I don't like RFK, but he means well in this, and I wish him well in this because I know too many people who have kids with autism who would love to find a cure, and God bless them for prioritizing this. But I think the research or the press conference was handled poorly on Monday, and the focus went to Tylenol and not to leucovorin, which actually is a drug that is showing a lot of promise for being able to mitigate the side effects of kids with autism, like Ruth's son, who has nonverbal skill set and has communication problems, that leucovorin appears to be able to help those sorts of symptoms. But the trials are early, but there's hope. And I just wish they had done a different thing. I don't care whether you think vaccines or Tylenol cause autism. I disagree with you, and that's fine. But we should all be in this for a cure, and that got overshadowed on Monday. But this story about Huntington's disease gives me hope that if we can figure out a gene therapy for Huntington's disease, surely we can figure out gene therapies for these other illnesses like autism as well.
You're at the intersection of politics, news, culture, and current events. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
250 Cool-Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Finally, some better news in Kennesaw. The roadwork has broken down for the day. All lanes are open. 75 north at Chastain Road, exit 271. So the brake lights out of Marietta should start to improve. Police activity still has Cobb Parkway southbound shut down right around Spring Road, Circle 75 Parkway. Police have been directing traffic there. And also slowing into downtown southbound from the 85-400 merge. Traffic brought to you by Peach Pass. Life doesn't slow down, and neither can you with Peach Pass. Save time, cruise by traffic, and use your Peach Pass in 20 states, including Georgia. Visit peachpass.com and keep moving. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
On air,
Online,
on the app,
where you get your news.
is where you'll live.
Download the WSB radio app now and maybe win $1,000.
Oh my God!
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
5 words, 5 times a day, every weekday.
I just won $1,000.
Just enter the word at WSBradio.com or on the WSB radio app. The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
Your next chance to win is at 5 p.m.
That nagging joint pain, you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes it's from years of hard work. Sometimes it's an old injury that just never healed right. Either way, it's been calling the shots in your life for too long. But that stops right now. I'm Mark Ehrman. QC Kinetics is here to flip that script. They use regenerative medicine, advanced cellular treatments that help your body heal and restore the damage in your joints, not cover it up, not cut it out, actually helping heal and restore. And the results, long-term, lasting relief. QC Kinetics, no surgery, no drugs, no long recovery, just a smarter, natural way to get your freedom back. Bring your MRIs, your x-rays, and they'll make sure you're a good candidate. Your first consultation, it's free, friends, so there's no reason to wait. Call QC Kinetics, 770-285-8026. That's 770-285-8026. Decatur, Lawrenceville, Sandy Springs, Marietta, Stockbridge, and Douglasville. Appointments available on Saturday. 770-285-8026.
At SouthernLink, we know wireless connectivity keeps business moving. Whether you're overseeing assets in real time or monitoring crew activities, our Critical Link LTE network can keep your business applications accessible as you travel. Call 1-800-818-LINC or visit southernlink.com to learn more about our mobile data solutions, LTE voice and data services, mission critical push-to-talk, and interworking solutions. SouthernLink, pushing the limits of what's possible.
Skip the hassles of a traditional home sale and sell your home quickly with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. There are no showings, no open houses, and no stress. Hi, it's Chris Chandler. Selling your home is one of the biggest decisions you'll make, so who you work with matters. My friends at Mark Spain Real Estate are the most experienced real estate team in the U.S., and you can trust them to sell your home fast and for maximum profit. Find out what your guaranteed cash offer would be. There's no obligation. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing.
If your credit card bills have gotten out of hand, call Consolidated Credit now. If the interest rates on your credit cards are so high, it'll take years to get out of debt. Call Consolidated Credit now. They've helped over 10 million people without destroying your credit. They can reduce your interest rates, lower your total payments up to 50% to get you out of debt fast. For a free consultation, call Consolidated Credit now. The program works.
Call 800-210-4298. 800-210-4298. 800-210-4298.
Consolidated Credit Solutions Incorporated, 5701 West Sunrise Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale, Florida 33313. Licensed by the New York Department of Financial Services and by the Vermont Department of Financial Regulation. Kansas CSO 0019051. Maryland DM 1492. Oregon DM 892. Licensed by the Virginia State Corporation Commission license number DC83. Service may adversely affect the individual's credit. Non-payment of debt may lead to additional finance charges or collections activity, including legal action. Actual interest rates, length of program, and monthly payment reductions will vary by consumer and creditor. Yours could be higher or lower. Not a loan company. We do not lend money.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Text Eric to 33777 and get the 4 Things You Need to Know podcast. Eric tells you the 4 things to pay attention to after the show. Also available on YouTube and your favorite podcast app.
Hello there, it is Eric Erickson here, and yeah, there are some stories that are breaking here now as we come out of commercial break that I can't get to because we don't have time, but I will dive into them in the into the 4 Things to Know This Afternoon podcast, because literally this story is just hitting the wire. It is the European Union has informed the Russians through diplomatic channels that they will begin shooting down Russian fighter jets that make incursions into European Union territory space. That's not an escalation. The Russians have been escalating by flying drones and manned jets into EU nations. It has now happened again overnight, and the Europeans want the Russians to know they're prepared now to respond. What has also happened is the Russians are doing low passes over oil rigs in the Baltic that are controlled by Poland and other nations inside exclusion zones where it's not safe for aircraft to fly because they could hit cables and other things, and they're doing it. And this is a provocation. I got to wonder if Xi Jinping is looking at this, wondering why he partnered with the Russians, because he's so focused on Taiwan. Maybe this is a distraction from Taiwan, but I got to imagine it's not. And, of course, now the tension escalates because of Pete Hegseth summoning so many generals and admirals to Washington. People are wondering, is this a restructuring? Are people getting fired? Is this to prepare for war? What's going on? It might actually behoove the Pentagon to speak a little bit about what's going on here as tensions continue to rise globally. Now we've got this dramatic step by the president saying that he's going to stand on the side of Ukraine and arm NATO. The Russians, I don't think the Russians have a way to win this thing, and the sooner we flood Ukraine with weapons, the better. Vision Computers would like to flood the zone with you on great tech support. If you go to visioncomputers.com or call them at 404-COMPUTE, they can build you a computer. They can upgrade your computer. They can be your managed IT service. I talk a lot about companies, but let me talk to you. You in the gig economy. You're sitting at a coffee shop. Maybe you got your AirPods on listening to me right now, and you could use an entire company at your back to keep your computer going because you depend on your laptop. Vision Computer for just $199 a year. If you mention me, you might get a discount. They can be your managed IT service just for you. You in the gig economy working so that you never miss downtime, because if you miss your deadlines, you miss your paycheck, so you don't want to do that. You want to stay online. Let's do it for big companies as well that don't have an in-house IT guy, and they can upgrade your computer as well. If you're on Windows 10, by the way, you need to upgrade soon because they're going to stop issuing security patches soon. Vision can help you. Call them at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com. Tell them Eric sent you. You could save some money anybody nationwide.
When the news matters to you.
The massive project at 285 and Georgia 400 has been a big improvement.
95.5 WSB has you covered.
The latest incident comes when a SWAT team is called after a suspect.
Your 24/7 news
They
source.
had no ties to a gang.
When you need the story, all you need to do is listen. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's breaking news station. WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
There's something new coming up, open enrollment season, which a lot of employers coming up in just weeks. And if your employer historically has offered you health insurance, they may now be offering you this oddball thing called, I call them ICRAs, which stands for Individual Coverage Reimbursement Arrangements.